my goodness. And there it is. Wow, get the spin to go.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Bowl TV for the 2021 PWBA BVL Open. My name is Aaron Smith with Bowl TV, and we're going to be heading out to Farmingdale Lanes in Farmingdale, New York in just a moment. Practice for the first qualifying block is just getting ready to wrap up, but we're going to go ahead and bring in one of our Bowl TV crew members here to kick things off this morning. On site in Farmingdale, Emil Williams Jr. joining the broadcast. EWJ, good morning.
Good morning, Aaron Smith. How are you this fine, I guess you're on Central Time. It's still a fine morning nonetheless, but you're hanging out an hour behind us good folks here in Farmingdale, New York. So very excited, Aaron. I'm excited.
Excellent. I'm excited as well. We're in the 8th event of the season right now. We've had a lot of excitement through the first 7 events over the course, even going all the way back to January, kicking things off with the Kickoff Classic Series. First major in the books at the USBC Queens, and now the second swing here of this kind of spring-summer tour, kicking off on Long Island, not in Long Island. I learned that yesterday. But we're ready to head to the lanes here. We're going to kick things off behind lanes 5 through 8. So we have 4 different channels available to watch here on Bowl TV. Lanes 5 through 20 covered. Of course, we have the main commentary channel as well. But you're able to flip through those channels and find your favorite athletes on the PWBA Tour and watch them compete here at the BVL Open. This qualifying round, 6 games. All competitors will be back a little bit later today, 5 p.m. Eastern, for a second 6-game block. And after 12 games, we'll cut to the top 32 who will return to the lanes on Saturday. But, Emil, we got the lanes here. We're ready to go. We got a great field. We got a great host. We got great fans here on Bowl TV, so we're going to go full screen and kick things off here. But before we do that, let's bring in Curtis Von Kruger as well to say hello. Curtis, how's it going, my man?
Hey, good morning. Wonderful day to be here on Long Island. How's everybody doing?
We're doing well. We are ready for another great round here on Bowl TV and on the PWBA Tour. This 40-foot pattern was a little interesting to watch during practice yesterday, Curtis. Just from the 15-minute warm-up the players had, we kind of saw a few players kind of attack it a little more direct. We saw a few players trying to create a little more shape. Kind of what were you seeing out there this morning?
Absolutely. You really saw the power players starting off left. And I think they have a cleaner look through the front end and through the mids. And I really feel like I think the higher rev rate players are going to have a little bit of an advantage on this shot as they're going to be able to migrate right and kind of get away from the pop pocket. But if you can control that break point pretty effectively during the transition, so I'm looking at game 3 or 4, is really going to determine the scoring pace of this round from what I see. And I think as those power players kind of move in, it's going to create some problems in the track for the straighter players who are starting off with a little bit of a straighter angle and kind of a down and in. So I'm very interested to see how carry is affected by that. And I think those who can get right early will have a better angle and will be able to kick out those corner pins a little more effectively.
All right, excellent rundown. We are using the Kegel Current Oil this week for this 40-foot pattern. So not their I guess slickest, if you will, but it's up there. It's not quite like ice, but just a step down from that. So still plenty of oil out there to kind of keep an eye on for that breakdown as well. We'll bring Emil back in here. And with that, folks, we're going to go full screen and take you to the lanes here. Game one of 6 coming up next here on Bowl TV.
Not 5. Not 5, Aaron. It's not the Queens. I knew you wanted to do it. I heard the hesitation.
As we kick things off here, we talked about chatting with Curtis, a variety of different angles available this week. And to kick things off, we have a nice mix of players with different styles and different ways to attack this pattern. So over on the left pair, 5 and 6 to kick things off, we're going to have Dasha Kovalova, Carrie Smith, Renee Martel Etheridge, and Sandra Gongora. Kicking things off for us. And then over on 7 and 8 to the right, Christina Hartle, Clara Guerrero, and Gigi Mason. Here on Bowl TV. All right, folks, as we settle in here, game number 1, for those of you watching on BullTV.com, we thank you. As a note, above the chat area to the right side of the screen, if you're not in full screen, you'll see the chat. As we have the past couple of weeks, if you look at the tabs above the chat, we do have our quick one-stop shop to find all the information you'll need about the BVL Open in that middle tab. You can go ahead and click on that to find such information as the roster this week, lane pairings, oil pattern, results, and more. Attempting to confirm about live scoring. I do not believe it is available, but we will double check with that just to make sure. Saw a few comments about that. But from that tab, essentially, that's information we are using throughout the course of the broadcast to keep you good folks up to date about what's happening here in Farmingdale, New York. Big shout out to our host proprietor this week, John Laspina, and the Laspina family, Joe, the whole crew there. great bowling family who do a ton for the sport. We'll talk a little bit more about that throughout the course of the broadcast this weekend. For those of you watching on Facebook, just a reminder, we will have the sneak peek available through game number 1. So after we conclude this opening game, we will be sending the stream directly to bowltv.com. You can pick up a subscription to watch wire-to-wire coverage. You can watch live throughout the course of the weekend for $8.95. That includes the stepladder finals Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Or you can pick up a monthly or annual recurring subscription for $9.95 or $79.95, respectively. That gets you full access to bowltv.com. So not just the live events, but archived coverage and on-demand content as well. Transaction fees do apply for all three. Let's cover the washout there for Dasha Kovalova, the 3-time tour champion. After kicking things off with an early 3-bagger, Sandra Gongora makes it 4 for 4 to kick things off here at the BVL Open. The format for this week, as we mentioned toward the top of the broadcast, 2 6-game qualifying blocks today. That's a total of 12 games. That will determine our first cut. So from 71 players, we'll go down to the top 32. Top 32 will come back tomorrow, Saturday. Same start time, 10 a.m. Eastern, to bowl on an additional 6-game block. From that and 18-game totals, we'll go down to the top 12. And then one more 6-game block. Scheduled start time for that, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll determine the top 4 for the stepladder finals tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on bowltv.com. 24-game pinfall totals to determine who will be competing for the BVL Open title. Dasha tripping 4s and taking names with that hit right there in the 5th.
That goes right along with the new Bowl TV slogan, right?
That is correct. Had to work that in there because she tripped a 4, so I just presume she followed that by taking names afterwards.
I think all of the viewers watching when Dasha was on last week at the Queens thoroughly enjoyed not only her commentary, but just Dasha in general. And for us, I think it was just great to see the viewers see that side of Dasha too. I think many viewers know that Dasha brings a different vibe, a funny vibe, very loose, fun all the time. Probably saw that even in her wins, while fierce certainly, but she can still just kind of give you the offhand witty comment that you're not expecting. And so I'm glad that she was able to share that with the viewers.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Emil. That was kind of a some of the interviews after a win on TV. Those are pretty short. Those are minute to 2 minutes, pretty quick. So you get to see a little bit of the personality. But having her on the broadcast for a couple rounds there during the Queens was an absolute blast. We had the chance to talk to her through the PWBA podcast as well, and getting to see that side of Dasha. But yes, that is the Dasha energy 100% of the time, which is just fantastic. Just great.
Quick couple of hellos. Just I know Aaron has already talked about it, certainly, but the Bowl TV community and everyone watching Game 1 here. Thank you all. Again, good to be back here. Everyone in the chat. Hi, Shannon, Chris, and Jennifer, and Selwyn, and John, and Judy, and everyone else. Mondo. It is a long time no see. Second event for me this season. I had to fill in graciously for Aaron Smith. I hope I did him justice in Cleveland. Not sure. Very high standard when you have to fill in for Aaron.
Emil, it was so good that I watched the broadcast on a giant projector screen at the Spectrum Entertainment Complex. Just massive Emil Williams Jr. CDB finals coverage.
Go to let's see, Mel and Sam, my guy, Danny. Hello, Brian. So thank you all, appreciate it. As always, I know I was a little disappointed from a live scoring perspective, especially this week, considering we don't have a good view of the entire player perspective. So because this is a two-sided building, essentially, preparing for the future and really just tomorrow. And not the future in that aspect as far as equipment goes. So we'll have these lanes covered 5 through 20 throughout. And then as much as possible, Curtis will be roaming and providing updates on what's going on, not only on this side that we may have missed, but certainly on the other side of the building. So, we'll do our best. If there are particular players that you are looking and hoping to keep an eye on, we'll do our best to help you out with that outside of our, of course, standard results reading after each game. So far, as we talked about a little bit, a few strikes. Aaron mentioned the very nice start here for Sandra Gongora. We talked to a chance to talk with Chuck a little bit yesterday, of course, Team Brunswick rep, and he was talking about some of the pins that don't carry in this building. And so far, Aaron, I'm starting to see a little bit of that, just kind of moving my eyes across the competition so far this morning.
They look a little lively in a different way.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
If that's a thing, I may have just made that up, but yeah, that hit that Clara just got was a little unique, especially with as straight as she was kind of attacking the oil pattern here, but yeah, an interesting mix of pin carry throughout the course of even watching the practice session yesterday and into game number 1 here today.
Yeah, I think really getting your bowling ball through to get through the pins the right way, and I know that's something that viewers hear a lot of the players say. We say it all the time as well. and kind of direct reflection of what the players and how they speak about what they want to see. But because of that pin carry, or potentially, maybe a lack thereof, we'll certainly find out. If you can get your ball to go through the 1-3 or the 1-2 properly this week, it's going to be all the best. I think the probability of striking certainly will go up. I've seen a few shots already across the way here, light mixers that may have carried in previous weeks so far, just right off the bat, like so it could be a little bit difficult. Three 6-10 attempt coming up here for Dasha. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. Obviously, just in regards to where Dasha is and the start she's had during the season, and then of course 2019 season, and things really starting to or continue, I should say, continuing to be very positive, certainly for Ms. Kovalova. Unfortunately, they're open in the 8th, so a bit of a after the good start, the last couple of frames haven't been too kind. And just like that, Dongora now through the nose. Speaking of good momentum, here's Gigi. Early struggle games seem to be out there so far in this fresh, Aaron. And then when we left last night's practice session, I knew that the first couple of games this morning would certainly be important. First time the pattern's been out, players see it, obviously. A lot of them talked about the house shot memory potentially that seemed to be there.
Yeah, it's I mean, generally, and Nick even told Nick Hoagland mentioned it to us when we started that this was kind of a choose your own path to the pocket type of week. So there were going to be different options out there, but it really seemed like there was a lot of in the folks we talked to that didn't seem like there was a clear game plan out there just yet. It seemed like there was going to be a lot of adjustments, a lot of discussions afterwards. I know many of the ball reps have a little meeting and sit down with all the players after the practice block to kind of get thoughts and go from there and say, we think this ball with this surface might be the best lookout here this week, or we're looking, high RG, low RG, asymmetric, whatever it may be that they think is going to work out best here throughout the course of the week. But it seemed to be some uncertainty in kind of what that game plan was going to be. So I think that reflects kind of what we're seeing here with the scoring pace throughout game number 1.
Just as a reminder / update, so to speak, over on PWBA 2, there are several players off to great starts and continuing the momentum. Liz Colkin started with the front 6. 8 spare in the 7th. Sydney Brummett has gone 9 spare, 9 spare, 9 spare, 4-bagger. Again, that is over on PWBA 2.
For the folks watching on Facebook and both channels, That is a great feature here on BullTV.com. You actually get to pick from multiple pairs to watch, so not just the one that we're offering right now. So this is one of the channels available on BullTV.com. So we have a commentary channel where we can kind of switch back and forth between pairs as things begin to develop over the course of the weekend and the tournament. But if you have a particular athlete you are hoping to follow, we have lane pairings. We have all that information available. We have essentially four sets of channels. So that's actually 8 pairs to watch throughout the course of competition. So over the course of the block, you will get to see players hit the Bull TV pairs a couple of times throughout the qualifying session. Then as we bring the field down, we'll get eventually we'll be all on the same side of the building, I believe, for the round of 12. And then, of course, the stepladder finals tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern. Kongora just 1 strike after starting with the front 4, but she stayed clean and can still get to 236 this game.
I think that's going to be a really big score this week. And I know it's obviously an extremely small sample size, but I think a lot of the our viewers and those in the chat have already mentioned they think how important spares will be, and I think they are 100% correct. It's always important. Let me clarify. Spares are always important, but if you miss a spare this week, there may or may not be a double or triple to follow.
I think that's a great point, E.
My sample size is even smaller as a whole from the season perspective, so I'll have to lean on Aaron to think about previous scoring paces. For me, it was, all right, let's go to Cleveland, where 7-baggers were very much the norm for that week, which, again, I love a high-scoring week every now and then.
Nice cover by Carrie Smith there in the 10th frame, taking care of the 2-4-10. But in general, most of the events, we've seen a little bit higher scoring pace out of the gates. I feel, looking back at the Hall of Fame Classic, which was a match play only event in the Kickoff Classic series, I feel that might have been one of the tougher patterns we've seen over the course of the tour season so far. Obviously, Queens brought some challenges. When you kind of look at what the cut number was, it took a 200 average to make the top 64 at Queens. But yeah, this is from what we're watching here, this is tripping up a few players here in the early going. Gigi Mason still looking for her first strike, which is pretty crazy as she gets ready for her 10th frame. And essentially, we're looking at one game over 200 here on our featured pairs, I should say.
Yes, I think so far, Aaron, and we'll find out if it's pair to pair, essentially, if it's, let's say 9, 10, 11, and 12 at the moment. Some players may just have that early beat on the rest of the field regarding where to play, the strategy, and what they're doing. But Liz Culkin is seemingly having no trouble early. She can max at 278. Again, that's over on PWBA 2. If you are watching on BullTV.com, that is.
I mean, and, even looking from pair to pair, lane to lane for Dasha to finish this game up on that right lane. She left the split in the 6th frame, 3-6-10, and then 3-6 to kick off the 10th, and then 3-6-9-10. So lane 6 giving the players some type of trouble here in the early going. But
if you watch Sandra's last offering there on the left lane, again, I feel like that's a hit that she may normally get in other weeks, but the light hit, proving the 10 pin to stay. And again, seen that a lot so far. Also seen a few 7-10s out there as well across the house here, at least on the low end.
Guerrero can get to 178. Hartle in the books with 168. Carrie Smith 179. Dasha Kovalova 181. Gongora can still get to 225. For Renee Martel Etheridge, she's going to be at 168. Max for Gigi, 159.
Looks like we might have an update here from Curtis.
Hey, yeah, I just had a little bit of time to walk around and kind of get a feel for things. The scoring pace really kind of dampened a little bit here early, which is a little surprising for me. But you had a couple of strings of strikes. Jay Rich throwing some together, had a little bit of a tricky open frame in the fourth, but she was able to come back with a four-bagger and really started to put things from shoot 220. And you have a couple of other players. Stephanie Zavala's looking good. She can shoot 250, which is one of the higher scores I saw out there. She's a little more in. She's definitely playing one of the more aggressive angles. She's kind of playing that standing 20, throwing 15, which is a little more right than I saw most of the other players playing. So it's going to be interesting to see how that develops and see how the scoring pace kind of starts to stay shape up over the next couple of games.
Curtis, did you see anything that just kind of from the low end so far? You know, I think same things, lower scoring paces. I've noticed a lot of light hits that aren't carrying. Are you seeing kind of the same thing over on the high end?
Absolutely. The high end is definitely, I would say that the low end maybe plays a little tighter than the high end. At least that's what it seems like. But yeah, a lot of light hits and really speed sensitive, it seems like. If you don't really control your speed and your break point pretty well, it's going to take off when you're skid. So, players who are able to kind of control their speed, I think will do well. But yeah, absolutely. Carrie again is going to be a concern and really going to have to really work hard to match up your angle and really kind of see how your ball is going through the pocket.
Good stuff. All right, thanks, my man. Appreciate you. That is Curtis Von Kruger. Those of you who may be new to Bowl TV this season, Curtis was out on the PWBA Tour in 2019, the entire season, and did some great video work, putting a lot of great content pieces together. And so he is out this week, and I believe he'll be out for several events for the rest of the season. So get used to seeing and hearing from Curtis.
Yeah, Curtis. Made a quick switch over to lanes 9 through 12 here. Mentioned Liz Culkin. She's up on the approach. And had a chance to get into the 250s there, but 2.48.10, not the shot she was looking for there to kick off the 10th.
Yeah, as I was talking about before, obviously before we made the switch, I think one of certainly the better looks, at least on this side of the building. But very nice 235 game from Sydney Brummett over on 9 and 10. So that was Sydney Brummett when you look at that scoreboard.
It's like 203 from Laura Plazas. Taylor Boltice, 190.
Someone mentioned the 300 over under. Man, I think I've seen enough strikes so far to say that we could see, I would say at least 2. I would put that number at 2. But, execution and different things like that. But I think it'll be more about some pin carry, certainly. Interesting note about Stephanie Zavala, though, which means to me, without having seen her, and I saw her throw a few practice shots yesterday, but just like the players, it's, I only take that so far because you never know really where a player is in a practice session, right? Are they working on something? Are they trying a ball that they just got drilled? You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's hard to get a read on that. But to me, that just kind of spells like she's playing her A game kind of already. And if you can do that to start a round, then I think you're going to be very successful, generally speaking.
I would agree, and that was something Chuck mentioned when we had talked to him yesterday, as well, as if potentially kind of get to where you're more comfortable at, and then you just got to go out there and make the shots. But a few different ways to get there, and a few different ways to watch the rest of the PWBA BVL Open for the folks watching on Facebook. We're going to go ahead and push the stream directly only to BullTV.com. So if you're on BullTV.com, you're already all set here to watch some of the greatest competitors in the world compete here on Long Island. For those of you watching on Facebook, we highly encourage you to head on over to BullTV.com, pick up a subscription to watch 3 different price points to come in at. You can watch live action throughout the course of the week for $8.95, including the stepladder finals tomorrow, or you can pick up a monthly or annual recurring subscription, $9.95 or $79.95. Transaction fees do apply. Those recurring subscriptions do unlock the entire site, so not only live coverage, but you get archived events and the on-demand content as well. But folks, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break as we transition into game number 2. Once again, a big thank you for joining us here on Bull TV for the PWBA BVL Open Game 2, coming up next only on BullTV.com. All right, folks, we are ready here. Game number 2 of 6 here in the opening round of qualifying at the 2021 PWBA BVL Open, taking place at Farmingdale Lanes in Farmingdale, New York on Long Island. My name is Aaron Smith, alongside Emil Williams Jr. and Curtis Von Kruger. We will be here throughout the course of the tournament. Wire-to-wire coverage here on BullTV.com until we crown the champion here this week. I believe there's a pretty cool trophy out there for all the competitors as well, for the individual who takes it home this week. From what I've seen from past events held at Farmingdale and attached to BVL, I believe a bowling ball is part of the trophy. So pretty cool memento to take home for our champion this week.
Yeah, indeed. I haven't seen the trophy yet, but like you said, the history certainly behind good trophies here at Farmingdale certainly say a lot. So looking forward to seeing that at some point soon. Officially into game 2, by the way. So we'll get a chance to see as we start 9 through 12 here, and that is PWBA 2. If you are checking all of the channels individually, but seeing Sandra Gongora and how she can potentially follow up her very good game 1 start. We'll also get a chance to see a pair who started on the low end, or excuse me, on the high end, Aaron Smith, and then immediately come over to the low end for game 2. And that is the pair on 9 and 10 at the moment, featuring Josie Barnes, Jackie Evans, Ashley Galante, and Kanan Badimsi.
As we settle in here, game number 2 of 6 here in the opening round. Of course, many great sponsors out on the PWBA tour throughout the course of the season. And with Genesis Bowling, that is the home of K-Motion, featuring a copper infusion, the #1 kinesiology tape in bowling. Be sure to visit bowlgenesis.com for more information. Once again, Genesis Bowling, proud sponsor of the PWBA Tour here in 2021.
Quick note, just want to make sure we get our pronunciations correct. I was going to double check anyway. But it is Janin Badimsi. Janin. So her name is spelled with a C, but it is pronounced with a J. So keep that one in mind, Aaron Smith.
One more time.
Janin Badimsi. Essentially, remove the C and write a J, and that's how you say it.
Well, there you go.
Also get a chance to talk with Storm rep or a rep from Storm, excuse me, Matt McNeil. And he mentioned so far, players who are going to score or have been scoring, at least early on, looking at 15, 16 at the arrows, out to around 9, 10. No, not a lot of looping. In fact, he said because the track was so dominant here, if you try to get to the right of the track, thinking 13 to 6-ish, that's where you might run into trouble. You mentioned slow response bowling balls, slow response equipment. Speed will be very important as well. And then obviously, you start to mix it and match in speed, rev rate, certain intangibles per player. You mentioned if you wanted to throw it a little straighter, maybe be a bit firmer, you could. You could get a little right and do that, but, with something a bit cleaner from an equipment perspective. So, again, appreciate Matt McNeil and some of that knowledge and news early on. Well, Aaron, pretty soon I'm sure we'll go back to 1 at some point based on the scoring pace on those lanes. Starting to see a few strikes put on the board, particularly on 7 and 8. Lise Bolton off to a good start. She got the front 4. Julia Bond with the front 3. By the way, Julia Bond presented with her Champions banner here this week, of course. Obviously, she is in the clubhouse already with 2 titles. So essentially that banner reflective of her first title back at the Kickoff Classic. But it doesn't hurt to receive it fresh off a Queen's victory as well. Always a nice moment. Had a chance to watch her receive that. Thanks to Caitlin Nelson for presenting. And then JB came back off the approach, stood and watched Caitlin go down and put it up on the masking units. And that was like her let me know it's a real moment.
Very cool. I actually did notice that when we were getting ready for the broadcast. I said, why on earth is Caitlin all the way down there at the pin deck? But that would explain it. Something else to explain. Standings. We got them up after game number 1. Stephanie Zavala leading the way, 246 out of the gates. Shannon O'Keefe, 237 in second place. Sydney Brummett, 235. Liz Culkin, 232. Summer Jasmine and Azeret Zetter at 225. Sandra Gongora and Rocio Restrepo at 224. Daria Payuk, 222. And then Jordan Richard and Lauren Pate, 221. Round out your top 10 here in the early going. A total of 26 players, even or better after 1. And the way too early cut line, -8.
In honor of Mike Flanagan, Aaron, I believe we will continue the score dash situation here. So, Mike, you're not here, but I'm going to keep the score dash going. Today's score dasher is Tennille Milligan.
How about that?
I'm going to go ahead and give her 5 stars.
Tournament director, Hall of Famer.
Yeah. Can't give
Major Milligan.
We can't give Hall of Famers nothing less than 5 stars. Aaron, there's one player I'm looking at in the standings. I saw her name on the roster, but I haven't seen her throw a shot. And that is Azeret Zetter. Every time I've seen her throw a bowling ball, I'm amazed at what she can do the power revolution she can create. Azarette from Mexico, teammate of Sandra Gongora on their national team, may not be too familiar with the viewers bowl TV community, but she often does bowl, certainly the queens, and maybe an event or two pre or post queens, just depending on the season. And she is entered today and is competing. You've already mentioned her name, of course, with the early start to 225. I think she's someone who certainly can make a little noise this week. I think she's versatile enough, certainly, to be able to play any part of the lane, especially if, the OB, let's say, is, 7-8 this week. I think that plays right into her game. She does like to play a little bit in when she can, certainly. So we'll keep an eye on Azarette Zetter for those, all of you watching, certainly at home.
Azarette did bowl the queens, as you mentioned. Defeated Kelly Kulik in her first-round matchup before dropping her next 2 games to finish in the tied for 33rd area. But as you mentioned, part of Team Mexico, part of the team that won the bronze medal at the IBF World Women's Championships in 2019. That was a big moment for Team Mexico. And Azarette, a big part of that bronze medal performance. Question from Maurice in the chat about the scoreboards, and it does not look like the scores do transfer from player to player. So it looks like with the A, B, C, D up there that we will be relying on the score sheets that we post throughout the course of the week to find the quickest way to get the scores. So it does not look like we have a plus minus or a way to kind of keep the running totals on the scoreboard. So just a note for that, but good question. Those scores did come from a game number 1 for the players on that pair. It looks like we have an update here on the lanes as well from Curtis Von Kruger. Curtis, what you got?
Hey, yeah, just again, just kind of surveying the lanes. It looks like it's really a tale of two cities right now. The bowlers I see striking a lot are either really outside. We're talking almost outside of 5 and kind of pointing it a little bit at the pocket. Amanda Najokis, obviously the Vanderbilt bowler and bowler that's had a lot of success at Junior Gold, strung the first 5 out and then a light hit left a 7-pin, but she cleared that, and so she's on a pretty good pace right there. And Jordan Richard, again, made another more move inside, playing more 15 now, standing about 23, and really kind of getting a little more angle, a little more shape on her shot, finding some early success here in game 2. So going to keep an eye on that and see how things transition over here in the next game.
Curtis, you mentioned to look out for players with a rev rate. Jordan, certainly no lack of that as Ashley gets the messenger there. Amanda, though, she's got kind of the probably one of the players more familiar with Farmingdale Lane. She lives about a half hour away from the area, so probably pretty familiar with the center and knowing some of the tendencies as another trip 4 and name taken by Dasha Kovalova.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this house specifically, kind of having a good topography understanding of how this house plays across the bays, because it doesn't matter how good you keep things, when you go from one bay to the other, it's always going to play different. So having kind of some familiarity to that and kind of being one step ahead as far as staying on top of that transition, it's definitely going to help you in this building.
All right, excellent stuff. Thank you, Curtis. We appreciate it, as always. Some good stuff and some different looks out there. Finding success here in the early going at the BVL Open.
I know I missed a nice update there from Curtis, but he did fill me in. You know, sometimes, Aaron, it takes a game to get comfy. But for some players, it's maybe not taking too much. Last shot I saw from Sandra, who is playing him a bit further right and straighter than some players. Kind of what we talked about yesterday. And if you keep in mind, for those who did watch the practice session, I thought Chuck Gardner gave us a nice nugget about Farmingdale lanes and the tendency of the gutter to play well here. But we didn't see a lot of that from players, you know, trying to make an effort to go and play there. And you see that shot there from SG. You know, certainly not the channel, not 1-2, but that looked to be maybe 5-6.
It's pretty direct, using her ball speed there to her advantage as well. And Emil, I believe we're up to 7 in a row on.
Indeed, we are
7 and 8.
Yes.
All right. Let's make the switch over there to take a look. Julia Bond, the front runner at the moment for PWBA Player of the Year, off to a nice start here at the BVL Open.
And we might as well just put it out there. And Vol TV viewers certainly are very smart. They know what they're seeing. Well, you can just go ahead and we can start saying that every single season from here on out for Julia Bond, because she's going to be in that race every single year.
Yeah, it's I think it was more of just a matter of when for her. I think, you know, seeing the progression throughout the course of her junior Team USA career, her collegiate career, coming out, winning a couple regional titles, was only a matter of time, but it's been impressive watching her take the next leap here in the 2021 season. I actually asked Dasha about it when she was on the Queens broadcast, but I feel Dasha's season is Julia up far right of your screen. And we're still in business here, folks. Still in the clouding business. A lot of great players here to watch as well. Shannon O'Keefe delivering a strike there. We got the update about Amanda Najokas. She is also on 5 and 6. But I asked Dasha, because I feel her 2019 season was, she had been on tour for a couple of years, had gotten better and better, small steps. And then all of a sudden 2019 happened and boom, superstar status on the PWBA tour. And it looks like she's not going anywhere anytime soon. And I asked her, I'm like, is Julia Bond the next Dasha Kovalova in that particular in that particular rundown? And Dasha really didn't say yes or no. She was very PC about the whole thing, and she's very happy for everybody out there. That's the one thing I did learn about Dasha is she's a very great cheerleader for all folks out there. But it kind of feels like a very similar trajectory for Julia here in 2021 that we saw Dasha have in 2019.
I would agree. I think the only thing that's different is we need to go. I'll make that change here momentarily. But the only thing that's different is probably the amount of events bowled on tour prior to kind of that breakthrough. I think is I think, as you just mentioned, Dasha had a few more events, I think, overall under her belt in that regard, as opposed to Julia. Although you could argue that Julia's regional experience, would have certainly sped up the process a little bit, which certainly was the basis of that program in that regard. So, but as you mentioned, it was just only a matter of time.
Into the 10th frame on 5 and 6, and just about ready for the 10th on 7 and 8. Shannon O'Keefe is going to finish with 208. Amanda Najokas playing pretty direct there over on lane 5. She can still get to 220 now with the 2-8 on her first delivery. Bond stepping up in the 9th. 279 still out there.
I know we got a lot of black cloud talk in the chat, and obviously it's become our thing, just like striking at will and throwing 10 back has become the thing of Julia Bond. But I think we gotta set some parameters around this black cloud situation.
I'm all ears for this.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't really think you can black cloud someone until they get to like the 10th frame. Like, I think they have to have the front 9. We can't be responsible for an 8th frame wrap 10. Now, I'm willing to go the distance on a wrap 10 first shot in the 10th frame. I'm okay with that. But this before the 9th frame or the 10th frame situation, I don't know about that, Bowl TV chat. You can holler at me about it. I'm here. I'm back. We can discuss it. I'm just saying. If I get out of my chair to go watch somebody on the front 7, hey, listen, an 8-pin happens. That's not on me. Now I'll give you that 10 frame shot. I'll give you that front 10. Hey, I'll cause an 8-pin. All right. Okay. I'll wear the T-shirt. Black cloud. At some point, you can fault us for doing our job, right? Our job is to bring you the best bowling possible. If we go to someone with the front 7, hey, wrap a 10. Do you not want to see the front 7 attempts? You want us to not show you? I'm just playing, by the way, folks. I think at least I got a few people that may be with me on the front 9. Like the front 9, I think is the bare minimum of Black Cloud. If anything, but because at some point you can just say if someone starts with a double, we go down and watch.
The early double cloud. Wow. That's a whole different level right there. I like your energy on that, though. I can.
Well, I think I was.
That saves us so much if that's a chat room thing now. That's where it's got to get. I mean, we can talk about all we want, but we need the chat to accept that the powers aren't real until the 10th frame.
Oh, it's funny. Glad to be back out. By the way, Shannon O'Keefe, I believe shot 208. Amanda Najokas did finish with 220 and then opened in the 9th frame. Ellery Bercier 181 over on 5 and 6. And so I think it was more of the. I know Mike was just taking a beating.
He was
taking a Black Cloud beating. We had fun with it in Cleveland, and I know it's been part of the season essentially on the Bull TV side. So I said, hey, listen. All right, we gotta get some parameters around this thing here. Now, Thomas, I'm okay with that. The Great Cloud, okay. Like, yeah, let's mix it up. It's that fine line, right? That in between, like overlap.
You know the storm is coming, but it's not quite there yet.
Right. I'm okay with that. A little overcast cloud, maybe.
That's when you turn to the person next to you and say, looks like we're going to get some rain coming up today. And you're just trying to make the small talk. And, oh, yeah, those clouds, those cumulus clouds are – I don't even know if that's the right term or not. But we need to get on this meteorology. Where's Danielle at? We got to get Danielle in the booth to learn a little more about clouds.
We may discuss that. Nice game by Elise Bolton, who has had a pretty solid season so far, I would say, overall. 215 to start.
She had a nice showing at the Queens last week. Won a couple matches.
Aaron, I know it's early, and you don't normally say things like this, but, let's say Julia Bond does get to 270 plus here. With her look, this could be a potential kind of, maybe runaway and high type thing. It's way early for that, obviously.
Woo! And just for that, 7-bit.
Well, see, there we go. Indeed, Jennifer, I've always had that curse. I will give you that one. Good morning to all. Good morning to Fancy. This is my first time at Farmingdale Lanes. And certainly the Laspina family has done so much, certainly for our sports, and certainly veterans through BVL. But that will continue a little bit this week, certainly. You can see the donate today on the screen. We'll have more info about that throughout the broadcast as well. And at some point, we will have hope to have either John or Joe certainly on the broadcast to talk a little bit about BVL and certainly what having the PWBA also means to them, having the players here this week. All right, final shot there for Bond. So it's a little week 7 and the wrap 10 to finish with 258.
Bond 175 in the opener, so a nice bounce back to get on the right side of plus. So we begin to head into game 3. And folks, Chameleon Sportswear is an apparel sponsor of the PWBA Tour and your source for custom and creative design jerseys for individuals and teams. Be sure to visit their website at www.camsportswear.com for more information. Your style is their style. Chameleon, proud sponsor of the PWBA Tour.
And shout out to Jeannie and Sandy. All right, we got a little bit of bowling left over on, looks like what? PWBA 2, a couple players finishing up the 10th frame. And I think way down PWBA 4, also with some players finishing up the 10th frame. So you got a choice there. So we talked about, obviously, Farmingdale being a two-sided building. And 24 lanes on one, 24 on the other, 1 through 24, then 25 through 48 on the high side. And this is PWBA 4. You see Liz Culkin hanging out here and ready to compete in just 1 second. It's been the cross of Taylor Boltice, Catherine Bell, Laura Plazas, and Liz Culkin, of course. And to their right, Missy Parkin. You just saw Tony Kaufman, non-member out of Plainview, New York. Krista Sands, owner of BowlerX.com, proud sponsor here at the PWBA Tour. And Abby Ragsdale, who we talked about during yesterday's practice session. One of the top rookies on tour this season. And we were talking about she is tied with 6 other players for the lead in cashes here this season at 7. She has cashed, I believe, in every event she has participated in.
Ten pin for 225 that game for Ragsdale. Abby 173 in the opener, so she's going to get to -2. $189 finish there for Laura Plazas, former standout at Wichita State and a member of Team Columbia, and Liz Culkin. He's stepping up on lane 18 here momentarily. Liz with 232 in the opener. See her getting pretty close to 4th arrow there. Gets the first hit in the 10th. Max of 197. Liz recorded a 3rd place finish at the USBC Queens. The last event taking place in Reno, National Bowling Stadium. It's not going to get that second hit in the 10th, however. Her max 187. So she's still going to be plus, but give a few pins back.
By the way, Aaron, not sure if you saw the info about the cloud knowledge in the chat.
I did, yes. We, if you're new to Bowl TV, we occasionally go on these tangents, and then the great folks in the Bowl TV chat will elaborate when we just throw stuff out there, and then they take it home for us because they're much more knowledgeable than we are. So that's
We got a lot of smart people in this chat.
we do. So that works out very well. But yes, I saw saw a few comments about Cumulus and Nimbus. There's one where there's a combination. Worked a strike into there. I'm trying to find that now. Where's that at? Cumulus strikers from Al.
That really sounds like a bowling term.
It really does. Nice work there, Al.
We use that.
Do have a few comments as well about giveaways. We do have a giveaway coming up a little bit later in the block here. We have not fired the cannon yet.
Cannon.
So that'll be upcoming here. Qualifying round number 1 at the PWBA BVL Open. Emil, what are you feeling next for us here in the upcoming game 3?
Well, over on 2, we have we watched a little bit of Amanda, Shannon, and Valerie, of course. So that's certainly one to consider. You know, we haven't watched anything, I think, on 3. We have seen a few players on 3 though, but we haven't seen that group of lanes, if you will. That'd be interesting to see just what the lanes might be doing over on that group.
All right,
let's go, and maybe we'll make it a viewer's choice as well. So let's see your game 3 options. Right, here we go. We've got. I'd also be inclined to take a look at PWBA 1-2 on 5 and 6 with Giselle Poss, Rocio Restrepo, Brianna Cote, and Becky Decker. Actually, let's just go there, Aaron, because on 7 and 8, Shannon Chapelski from East Rochester, New York. Good to see her. Verity Crawley, Suzette Draper, and Danielle McKeon. So
all right, we can do
for
that.
PWBA 1.
So for these players, they had their first 2 games on the other end of the house, the high end of the house. So this is their first flip to the low end. And in talking to Brianna yesterday, she mentioned pretty big difference in how she saw the lane play from one side of the house to the other.
She did mention that, and obviously we get a chance to watch her here. You know, I think, and I don't know how many 2-sided centers there are, certainly, but I've been to a few. Aaron, I'm sure you've been to a few. I'm sure everyone has been to a few at some point. I don't know if I've been to enough from a competition perspective, and especially at the time where I really paid attention, like these players do, certainly, on just how different a bay or 2 bays may play differently, or 2 sides may play. But you'd have to think there would be some level of difference just because it's a completely different side of the building.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, personally for me, I can my home center growing up was one where it was a 40-lane center to start, and then they added on another 20 lanes. And, you know, there were certainly I definitely enjoyed bowling on the higher end of the house more, especially, you know, essentially when they renamed the lanes, it was the new side was 1 through 20, and then 21 through 60 was the other side. And you know, kind of those that 21 to 40 range or so is typically where, you know, most of the wear and tear was at for the center. That's where the front desk was, if you will. if you will. So that was always kind of the place to be at if you were hoping to put up a few extra strikes and put up a little bit higher score. Was something I noticed just about that particular center. But yeah, I think that's something, the time when it was built, the install time, all of that, the location, how much open play, how much play in general is seen versus other parts of the establishment. So all that kind of comes into play in determining that, and that was something we talked about with Curtis. Amanda Njoka is playing pretty far out to the right, and she's a player who's about 30 minutes away from Farmingdale Lane, so probably has had the opportunity to compete here a couple of times throughout the course of her career, and may know some of the tendencies of the topography, if you will. Yeah, that's another great band name, by the way. Tendencies of Topography.
That is a good name. We'll have to get Noelle Shuck in the chat at some point and throw that at her, see if she would agree with our band name choice. All excellent points you just mentioned, Aaron Smith, and obviously Amanda, really an experienced player at this point when you look at the full resume, and at this, still very young or early into her collegiate career, but so many big time bowling experiences, junior gold, specifically, throwing that out there as well, and then everything else she has competed in. So for her, I'm sure, maybe I would say maybe a small amount of nerves, and I'm not saying she is or was, but when you shoe it up with the best in the world, you may expect a frame or two to kind of get you to settle down, but I think that comfort and familiarity of the center certainly helps someone to get ease up a little bit, get comfortable, maybe just a touch quicker. And she's off to a very good start. I have to keep an eye on her for a couple of reasons. One, I'd be interested to see where she's going to move, and hopefully she won't have to. Things will just play to her comfort zones at the moment. But if she does have to move, I'd be interested in seeing how and when she'll have to make that move.
One more note about Amanda. We mentioned competitor for Vanderbilt University. I know they had an announcement just I think yesterday, 2 days ago, announcing some signees for the next collegiate season. So that's always an exciting time to see kind of some of the young superstars upcoming for the sport of bowling kind of pick their next path in their bowling careers and academic careers as well. So shout out Kaylee Chanel, Kaylee Hitt, and Paige Peters. All going to be joining Josie Barnes. Wow. And Amanda Njokas and Mabel Cummins and more. That's Commodores in the 21-22 season.
Pretty good class. It's fun to see the recruitment videos and the NLI signings, and it's fun to see players and young athletes get that opportunity, and then also to see the respective universities, see which players they will be adding, and then you start to, especially us, Aaron, in this business, right? You immediately start to think about, okay, all right, so this top 5 next year is already looking like, I mean, Vandy, who had a very young team this season, did have a nice little run at the national tournament. So adding that class, and then you add that with the experience that the current group already has now, they're putting themselves certainly in good position. Obviously, McKendree, all respect to Nebraska, the reigning NCAA champion, of course. And then that's just NCAA talk we're speaking of right now. We talked about other schools, USBC collegiate schools, Wichita State, for example. Congrats to them, both men and women. So amidst a very difficult COVID-led situation, it was great to see the collegiate aspect not only get underway, but being able to crown champions at every level: NCAA, USBC collegiate, NJCAA, NAIA. Excellent work by all involved.
100%. We do have score updates available now after 2 games here at the BVL Open. Jordan Richard, Curtis mentioned her a couple times now. Keep an eye on her. 221, 245, 466, plus 66 leading overall. Stephanie Zavala plus 59. Kayla Jones, a non-member from Pennsylvania. Nice start. She's at plus 58. And Shannon O'Keefe plus 45. Amanda Najokas, since we were talking about her, steady so far, 216 and 220 for plus 36. Julia Bond making a big jump after that 258 to plus 33 in 6th place. Sandra Gongora plus 31. Summer Jasmine plus 27. Liz Culkin plus 19. And then Brianna Clemmer and Jen Higgins at plus 17 round out your top 10 at the moment. A total of 18 players averaging higher than 200. Cut number at the moment, minus 14, Maria Balanova. So one more Vanderbilt player right there. Hashtag anchor down.
Just the quick note again on the other thing about that, Aaron, is the we're starting to see those younger players who have moved on from their respective collegiate programs, moved on to the PWBA tour to continue their collegiate legacy now as a professional, if you will. And we always get into a situation where we talk about, how many players can we name that went to this particular school or this particular program, and it's still cool to continue to see the numbers add up in the respective institutions that are represented here on the tour.
Agree 100%. And one of the many Weber International standouts that we see on tour, Verity Crawley heating up here. 6 out of 7. Over on 7 and 8.
I tell you, I'm curious if we did a poll, Aaron, who is the most popular player on the PWBA tour? And I think that answer has changed over the course of a couple of years. I think it's Verity Crawley. I think it's Verity. Just my thoughts on that. And it has no bearing on anything. But I just know, and if we were to segment it specifically, I'd have to go Bowl TV community. I would definitely say Verity.
Can't argue with the love of Verity in the Bowl TV community.
I am looking for Jordan Richard on our pairing sheets because I want to know when she will make the turn. But my eyes just currently, I don't have my glasses on either. So
she will make the turn in game 4. She'll actually be on 5 and 6. So Jordan, along with Maria Balanova, Alicia Current, and Danielle Niddle, have not hit the Bowl TV pairs yet, starting on 27 and 28. So they've been on the high end of the house the whole time. But the final 3 games, they will be here for the Bowl TV community. 5 and 6 in game 4, 11 and 12 in game 5, and 15 and 16 in game 6 here for round 1.
That'll be good. And obviously you'll want to take a look at the leader if she is still the leader after this game. But either way, considering her start, get a chance to see where she will be playing. Certainly it will be game 4. But again, it could be the same. Curtis has provided a few updates regarding Jordan, and we appreciate that. As we watch with Ocio. Oh boy, that's row right to see.
Classic.
That's the row that everyone knows. It's good to see her performing well. I think she looked pretty solid last week at the Queens. Aaron, were my eyes deceiving me, or
they were not? It's actually been a pretty turbulent year for Rocio, as far as dealing with some injuries, some hip issues that we found out a little bit at the Queens. And she ended up taking off, I believe, the Cleveland stop a couple of weeks ago. to try and work on some things in her physical game that would alleviate some of the issues she was having from the injury. And she found she adjusted something in her start to kind of get to a more comfortable place. And since then, it's been a whole bunch of striking for Rocio these past 2 weeks since making that switch. So she's felt better. She still has to have the injury addressed at some point throughout the course of the season, but it's in one of those situations where it's not going to get any worse if she continues to bowl. So she's found a way to kind of work with the injury, and that change has helped her feel more comfortable out there and do what we know she can do a whole bunch of, which is strike.
Yeah, Verity followed up with another one in the 8th frame. We'll see Rowe up here momentarily looking for the front 6. Yeah, I think because we know that Rowe has dealt with a few injuries in the last couple of seasons. I always just, I guess the personal side of me just feels for her because, she's had many conversations with us about the varying injuries again over the course of the last few seasons. And I was hoping, that she would be kind of fully 100%, but I know she's working her way towards that goal. I think what's sometimes underrated, Aaron, your health has to come first. And we're not just talking about injuries, certainly, because that's part of being an athlete.
Get out of there, Ted.
Okay, GP. See you. But yeah, your health comes first. And, we hear players time to time saying, listen, I just needed to take a week off to, make sure my body was good. And that's important. In the grand scheme of it, depending on your goals and all of that, you hate to miss events, certainly, but if you're going to be better overall because you missed that event, it's like a 2-for-1, essentially. So maybe you place higher, you make a few more dollars because you took the time out to make sure your body was healthy for those upcoming events, as opposed to, and essentially make up what you may have missed out on in a week. So I think that is an underrated aspect. It's not quite load management.
Ooh.
It's not quite load management. I think it's a little different because it's the amount of although it could be, you could think about it in that way, just because of the way the tour is structured. And obviously, how many games per week, and it's very rapid, of course, and back to back to back, and a lot of stress and strain certainly on the body.
Load management. Wow. It's got the NBA regular season involved here.
Hey. This season's a little longer this year, right? So
that's true. That's true.
Hey, listen. I mean, you got to do what you got to do for you. In this case, it's not a team. It's not a team sport, right? Specifically, PWBA Tour. Obviously, we're talking about PBA League and all that, but in this situation, you are out here to make a living for you, and you have to do what's best for you. For those who don't like the load management, I'm not a huge fan, but I don't mind it. But, we're not talking about Bron and Kawhi.
I was talking about Kawhi. That's who I was going to mention.
Because LeBron does not believe in load management.
He's a fan of Taco Tuesdays, though.
So am I.
Who isn't, to be fair?
That's a good question there from Jason. Aaron Smith got a chance to watch the shows live as they happened, or I should say while they were being taped, in regards to the intercollegiate shows. But specifically, I'd have to look at Anna Olaya from that sense.
I can see the comparison, maybe a little bit less on the rev rate compared to what Rowe is putting out there, but a very similar style and how they get to the lanes, kind of the same sort of aggressiveness. But yeah, I think that's a very good comparison for her. I think just the rev rate's a little bit different, but kind of the same path, same approach to get to the lane, and both great shot makers. Anna actually making the finals at the Intercollegiate Singles Championships as well. So was the runner-up. Unfortunately, someone's got to be the runner-up in both events, and Anna got to experience that, unfortunately, both in the singles and the team portion of that. But I got to see some great performances from her throughout the course of the week at the Spectrum Entertainment Complex.
Aaron, did you get a chance to see the 10 get slapped by the 6 from Verity Crawley?
I missed it during that rundown.
Well, she slapped it out. Well, I should say the 6 did.
Well, I like the sound of that. I like the sound of shooting 259 as well, so she needed that hit.
That seems to be the ones that are carrying, when you can get the 10 to get that extra nudge from the 6. Seen a few late messengers, but we've also seen our fair share of wrap 10 so far today. And speaking of ball carry and whatnot, Curtis has been on the money with updates certainly from across the building. And here he is again. Curtis, what do you got?
Yeah, just checking out the high end, something we don't have eyes on exactly, but looks like the scoring pace over there is a little better. Keeping an eye on Jordan Richards still. She looks like she's throwing an Axiom Pearl, symmetric, stronger core ball, really kind of playing left of everybody else, and has a really nice look at the pocket. And as you were just alluding to, really getting that 6-pin moving, kicking out those corner pins, and her carry looks really good. I expect her to be able to move left even earlier than everybody else, kind of stay in front of that transition and continue to strike. But here it again, it looks like the higher rev rate players like her are going to have a touch of an advantage.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Curtis. Appreciate that. Curtis Von Kruger, ladies and gentlemen, keeping us updated on the high end, and we will get a chance to see Jordan, as we talked about. She's going to make her way over to 5 and 6. And so, Curtis, you won't have to go too far this time to keep your eye on Jay Rich.
Keep you guys updated. Thanks.
The man about town. What do we call Curtis this week, Aaron? Because he's
the man about town. I like that. I think that's.
Make sure we got to put his step tracker on because he's doing some moving today. Nice game there for VC. Verity Crawley, 249. I went over Verity's last couple of, last week. Good shot there for Danielle. And DMAC now after the slow start here, 5 in a row. Here in the backside of game number 3. Lost my train of thought. Forgot what I was going to say. I think it was about Verity.
Yes, you said you were looking at her last few events.
There we go. Yes, last week she was competing in the Midnight Bowler Society, which is a high-stakes action event in St. Louis. And then there was a full weekend, actually, of bowling in St. Louis. So she competed in that, and the next day was a singles event. And then she bowled doubles on Sunday, an event with Anthony Simonson, and finished second. So, finding ways to continue to kind of keep throwing the bowling ball a little bit post-Queens. The Queens always provides that few days of break time for the players, generally speaking, and not too much different this year. Picked up a little change and then comes right back out on tour and continues to have some success.
She was minus 12 after the first 2 games. They're going to move to plus 37. Shanna Chapelski finished with a 182. 1 shot left to go here for Danielle. She can get to 222.
Yeah, big game there for DMAC, as mentioned in the chat. Minus 79 after 2 games.
Cote up in the 9th.
That already looks good. Week 10 there. Well, you talk about moving in, and you see Bree there. We talked about 15 and 16. Matt McNeil again mentioned this earlier after game 1 to me. 15, 16, 9, 10 seem to be the go-to targeting area, if you will, specifically for righties. Maybe a ball change there to test something out for D-Mac on the washout. So we'll get to 218. Really been impressed, Aaron, by Bree's consistency over the course of this season. I know there was an event specifically in Lincoln, for example, where she did miss the cut, but not because she didn't bowl well. The just didn't match up essentially that week, and those weeks certainly will happen. But I think overall, in the grand scheme, she's been very good here in 2021.
Claimed her second career title at the ITRC Classic in an instant classic against Jillian Martin in the title match. And then the event you called in Cleveland against Stephanie Zavala, runner-up finish. And Cote's been on a very impressive streak the past couple of years, being one of the most consistent performers out on tour. Starting in 2018, making a couple shows as the top seed. Some heartbreak in 2019, Fountain Valley, and another runner-up finish, but breaking through here in 2021.
Big shot here for G. Poss, just early, but would love to be able to either go even or +1. Zell entering this game at -4 after 2. Oh, with the open in the 9th, makes a spare in the 10th frame. She can get to 235. I gotta tell you, Aaron, if I'm looking at a world right now where look at high rev players on this tour, Jordan Richard, and now Stephanie Zavala. And man, after watching Steph in Cleveland, I don't know if that image will ever leave. In an event that featured obviously a lot of high scores from many players and many players with varying styles. You know, she stood out and was doing it when it mattered the most.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's early, but, you know, seeing her name again and again, top of the leaderboard, you know, obviously the early out at the Queens was disappointing, but she was near the top of the standings and qualifying throughout as well.
That is correct, yep.
You know, that's an already set up for success, having success. Sometimes you just need that little belief, man. And we could be witnessing that unveiling, if you will, the next, you know, star, so to speak, on this tour.
And in reading your recap story from Cleveland, I know you talked to her a little bit about you know what it would have been like. She was preparing to bowl the tour in 2020, and obviously that did not take place. But you know, thought it was interesting to read about you know, how she took that that situation and turned it into an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to get better and prepare for the moment that was upcoming. She did not join the tour until after the Kickoff Classic Series, so she did not compete in the first 3 events of the year, but collected that first title in her 3rd event as a PWBA Tour member.
Yeah, and I don't know. Just right off the bat, right, I think about Wendy McPherson. Excuse me for the low volume there. Wendy McPherson, as we watch Bree handle business here. Final shots in the 10th frame already. The double strike will get it to 227. Wendy Mack, U.S. Women's Open win in '88, first event out. Takes care of business. But I know that doesn't happen very often. But in just your third event, where we consistently see young rookies go through some struggles, a few pains every now and then, right, before they find the right combination. Says a lot about where she is both physically and mentally already in her young career.
Came up from a great bowling structure in the collegiate landscape from Sam Houston State. Spent some time on Junior Team USA and Team USA, and now a PWBA Tour champion. 227 for Cote to wrap up. And folks, remember to stop by and visit www.apparelefx.com for custom uniforms for all sports. Apparel EFX, a proud sponsor of the PWBA Tour.
Oh, shout out to the Cote family. What's up, Randy? See you. And Bree. So, Aaron, I think same situation here. We've got still bowling going on channels 3 and 4 specifically.
3 and 4. Okay. We'll take a quick second to hop over there. As we do that, folks, remember this is the BVL Open. So learn more and donate to BVL by visiting bvl.org or bowl.com/BVL.
Well, and just like that, of course, looks like as soon as we get there, bowling is about complete on 4.
How's
And
3 looking?
3 still has a few shots. I believe Sandra Gungor is in the 10th frame, as is Ashley Galante. Very nice graphic there. Of course, as Aaron mentioned, donate to BVL. We'll have that up many times, certainly throughout this weekend's broadcast. Again, bvl.org or bowl.com/BVL. The Bowlers to Veterans link. And someone mentioned this in the chat. I believe it was Troy Fisher earlier, but thank you certainly to all of our veterans who have proudly served this country, including Curtis Von Kruger, who is back on staff this week. So it's certainly something that is very near and dear to him, along with many others. Not only in this center, certainly to the Laspina family, but across the country. Let's get our final shots here of Game 3. We'll be off to Game 4. Shout out to Ken watching, of course. Hey, to my man Jay.
All right, looks like that's going to wrap up game 3 here as well. So a few couple quick shots before we get to game number 4. And as we get ready for that, just please take a quick look at the upcoming PWBA Tour schedule. For the 2021 season, we are at the BVL Open right now. So as you can see, plenty of excitement coming up, even in just the next couple of weeks. The Albany Open, June 3rd to the 5th. The Greater Nashville Open, June 10th to the 12th. And then the Louisville Open, June 17th through the 19th, before players get a little bit of a break before it's time for the Lucy, the PWBA Striking Out Cancer Mixed Doubles event. Taking place at the end of July and heading into August. So this will be the first opportunity to see a couple of new faces here, at least for today on Bowl TV. Very familiar, of course, to the PWBA Tour, though. So making the jump to the low end of the house. On 5 and 6, we'll have Maria Balanova, Jordan Richard, Alicia Current, and Danielle Niddle. And over on 7 and 8, Maria Jose Rodriguez, Shalyn Zulkifli, Taylor Bailey, and Kayla Jones.
All right, game 4 officially underway. And I believe now we have several players. We already talked about who we would see on 5, 6, 7, and 8, including Jordan Richard, who was leading the event after 2 games. And just like that, we are now into first game 4. We have standings after 3. And when Aaron Smith will returns, he will alert you via Bowl TV. But while we wait for that, I just got handed standings from a new Score Dash driver by the name of Kathy Wadka. And so shout out to Kathy. She is back as well this week. Certainly a bit of a reunion for certain staff members. This is Kathy's first event back. She'll be doing a couple for the rest of the season as well. So big thanks to Kathy. Nice to see her. Speaking of Stephanie Zavala, ladies and gentlemen, we just had that conversation at the end of game 3. She is now your new leader at plus 101. 701 for the first 3. For Stephanie Zavala, Jordan Richard at plus 80 in second. Jen Higgins is third at plus 53. And we'll keep our eye on Jen Higgins as well. Rolling well, obviously. And, someone with all of the talent certainly has had a few bumps the last couple of seasons and some injuries, of course, as well. So good to see her so far here in this top 3. Shannon O'Keefe is 4th at plus 50. Rocio Restrepo 5th at plus 46. Liz Culkin is 6th at plus 40. Daria Payok 7th at plus 39. Verity Crawley is 8th at plus 37. Amanda Najokis is 9th at plus 33. And rounding out the top 10 here is Stephanie Johnson at plus 27. Let's see, 18 players at plus or better. Sandra Gongora at plus 2. Right now, the cut number, 32nd, is minus 25. So I think we will certainly see some negative numbers advancing to tomorrow's cashers round. That could change, certainly. We've got a whole other block to go this evening. But the way it's working right now, could see some minus numbers making their way and advancing to tomorrow. But a long way to go. But Stephanie Zavala so far, lone player to get to 700. Here in a pattern that certainly is scoreable, but presents its challenges. I think it's got a few roadblocks. Aaron Smith, we do have a request to discuss that, the lane pattern that is in the chat. So when you're ready, and we'll see if we can throw up the overlay for just a little bit so it won't take up too much of your time. Nice washout there for Maria Bolanova.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll get the overlay up there really quick. Let's get it after Taylor's shot here up on lane 7. For just a quick look, you will see a unique shape to the pattern. So it's going to have more of an hourglass look to it. 40 feet in length, 24 mils the volume, using the Kegel current oil. So we're going to toss it up there real quick. So you can take a look. You can find out this on PWBA.com and more. So you kind of see it right there. You see the hourglass shape to the pattern. And here's our report from Nick Hoagland about the pattern being used this week at the BVL Open. He says kind of the first unique pattern the tour has seen so far this season. So at least from Nick's perspective, most of the patterns have been a little on the calmer side compared to some of the trickery he will pull from time to time between the tour and collegiate and everything else. So he kind of compared it to being a longer and potentially easier version from what the players saw at the 2021 U.S. Open for day number 1, pattern 1, at the National Bowling Stadium in Reno. So, looking at the scores from that, we saw some left-handers have some success, and Jacob Buttroff getting off to a strong start at that one. Danielle McCune bowled pretty well on that pattern as well. Obviously, we're in a much different facility, different center, different topography, all that playing into it as well. So, but that was a comparison made by Nick. 40 feet in length, as we mentioned, and a 40-foot drop brush, so not too much taper down lane. We mentioned current oil being used. It's one of the slicker oils from Kegel, but not quite as slick as ice. Nick did note that one of the items with this pattern, saying the last time the competitors on the PWBA tour had something like this was in Orlando in 2017. So you mentioned Stephanie Johnson, I believe, in the top 10. I believe she took home that title in 2017 in Orlando. So Nick mentioned it kind of being a choose your own adventure type of oil pattern. So multiple angles to play, but obviously the risk and reward, we'll see kind of what pays off. We know some players went a little straighter. We know some players got into the track. We know some started a little left of the track. So we'll see if those scores are able to continue. Let's see if those trends follow suit throughout the course of the event.
Thanks, Aaron. Already see a couple of follow-ups, maybe some general questions that many in the chat are answering, just in regards to the varying colors of on the graph. Essentially, the aqua-looking color is forward. The royal blue-ish color is reverse, and then the combined, that dark navy, is the combined both forward and reverse on the graph itself. I think our goal after this game, Aaron, I'm saying it out loud so you can remind me, but I think we'll try to get a ball rep to give us their thoughts and what would be through 4 games at this point. And I think now we would have someone also from a rep perspective who have had players on both sides of the bay, both sides of the center at this point. So Game 4 should be a good idea, or after this game, I should say, would be a good idea for that. Please remind me. Speaking of updates, I think we have something from Curtis Von Kruger. Curtis.
Yeah, just keeping up, and obviously Stephanie Zavala is bowling really, really well. She's in an asymmetric, looks like it's in an intensity. She stayed in one ball the entire time, just moved left. She's really kind of inside everybody else right now, kind of getting that skid flip reaction that particular ball offers, as it is with that asymmetric core. Really clean through the front ends and really making a nice transition in the back. And it's given her that carry that everybody really is coveting right now. So she's been able to hit them on the high end. Let's see how she does. She'll make the turn here next game, and we'll see how that transitions for her.
All right, my man. Good
Awesome
stuff.
stuff. Thanks, Curtis.
All right, hold on. Wait, before you go, one follow up. Still within the bays themselves, have you seen any noticeable differences again as the high end presented, or as you mentioned earlier, the high end seem to be presenting higher scores? I should say. Does that still seem to be the case?
Yeah, absolutely. It really seems like there's some more strikes on the high end. The low end is playing tighter, so there's a little less room at your break point, maybe a little bit more speed sensitive. And so I think you get a little more area down lane and front to back when you're looking at the high end of the house. So do expect that to kind of continue as the day moves forward. The middle pairs here, like 11 and 12 that we have featuring, those are tricky pairs. And I think we've kind of seen that. Some people have been able to hit them pretty well, but overall, I think the high end of the house is definitely scoring a little bit better.
My man, thank you, sir. There's Curtis Von Kruger. Nice update there on what we're seeing from Stephanie Zavala specifically. What was part of that big 701 to start the block? Certainly, will we see it continue? We'll find out. I was just about to say, although she won't be happy with that shot, but it's very nice to see Alicia Curran back and bowling on tour.
She's been so busy winning national championships for Delaware State. So
how about that?
Pretty cool tie-in for the Intercollegiate Singles Championships this year, which did broadcast a couple weeks ago on CBS Sports Network. Her student athlete, Katie Robb, winning the ISC title for the Hornets to join her coach in that prestigious national individual championship on the collegiate scene. Alicia winning in 2007 as a member of Wichita State. And now Katie Robb winning in 2021 with Alicia as her coach. Hornets also competed at the ITC.
There's Jay Rich. And again, front five now, of course, 310. But by the way, hello to Robert. Appreciate you, Robert. Thank you very much. Aaron dropping some good nuggets or info about what's upcoming in regards to spectators and such. So appreciate that, Aaron. I can tell you that the fans here on Long Island are really excited about having the PWBA here, and B, of course, being able to attend certainly in person.
It is unique for some of the events we've done, so it's nice to see the world kind of getting back to what we experienced pre-COVID, but yeah, it's been a little strange being at some of these events, not having the fans, not having the cheering, the excitement, kind of all of it coming together, the energy in the building. So obviously great that these athletes were out there able to compete, but great to see the fans being able to get back and enjoy the excitement as well.
There was a league last night finishing up their final week.
Did you sub?
I did not.
Ooh.
That's a really good, I don't know how much time I'll be spending on, on tour as we move ahead, but that is actually something that would be cool. Maybe we should do things like that in the future if opportunities present themselves. That would mean I would have to, get over the hump and actually go bowl. But that'd be cool. I think that'd be a different type of content piece we could put out. It would really be a good way to, just kind of have a cool convo and get to know some of the local fans of whatever venue or city that we might be in.
You've heard it here first, folks. In Albany, South Glen Falls, Smyrna.
Oh man,
You're not going to be in Louisville, though, correct?
I will not be in Louisville.
So we can't put Farish on the hunt for that. But all right, so for these next 2 weeks, bowlers competing at these centers. Open up a spot in your summer league. We got Andrew Lowy chiming in here. You can rock the Blue Flame shirt from the LU days.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I don't think I want to wear that for multiple reasons. One, it's kind of sacred, and whenever I get a chance, I'm gonna put that in like the actual like frame, right? Like you frame a jersey. That's where that's gonna go. But two, I also don't have. I was going through a phase like most teenager, college age individuals do, right? And especially during that time in the early to mid 2000s where you just wear larger clothing than what it needs to be. That shirt is humongous. That shirt is very, very, very large. And I had no business wearing it. But I wore all my clothes big at that point because that's what we did. And I also would not wear it at league. But, it's a fun idea. Thanks, Andrew. I hope all is well, my guy. Good to see you. Good to hear from you. Nice to see your name in the chat. Larry, yeah, man, they took away my privileges, bro. We'll have to talk to somebody about that. You know what I'm saying? Your brother get the star back on his name. Although, Larry, if you do have a star by your name, that means you have some added responsibility, and I'm okay with not having that. So
it's gonna be like that, huh?
I'm good. I'm gonna leave it to Aaron.
We got Zach in the chat saying there's a doubles league Wednesday night next week.
Okay.
Kingpin's Alley.
I'll be in there Wednesday. I don't know what. No, I think I get in pretty early next week. There was a point on tour, Aaron. Hold on 1 second. I'll get back to you. By the way, never mind. There was a front six alert. We'll get back to that for 1 second. There was a point in 2018 or 19, maybe both years, that I was carrying a ball or two with me week to week. And my goal was to practice every week that I could, theoretically, whatever flights sometimes, sometimes there's some bad travel days.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my goal. I never quite reached that goal, but I did throw a few balls, generally leading up to or right before my appearance at the Open Championships. I remember bowling a few games like at Fountain Valley. I remember going to the Alley in Wichita to bowl a few games as we prepare for the TV show, the Queens in 19. Those were the days.
The real question is, how many tournaments have you bowled this year?
Absolutely zero. To be fair, I have not thrown a ball. It is now officially 2+ years.
My goodness.
I am watching Matt McNeil kind of walk through, I should say, and have a convo with Stephanie Johnson about, I think, what she's seeing and how she's seeing the lanes at the moment. Always an interesting convo, trying to listen in a little bit. We'll try to have mention the ball rep, but that's still my goal. Is to get a ball rep on, Aaron. Don't forget about that.
Ball rep
After this
game 4, game 5 break. On it.
Let's see. Let me send that note to myself after this.
Talked about 7-10s sneaking up there, and for Maria, finds it in the 9th. Shalin makes it 3 in a row to set up the 10th. She can still get to 229.
I mentioned Shaolin a little bit yesterday, and I just anticipate her to perform well. And again, as she gets more comfortable, and I believe she's going to spend the rest of her time on tour this season, hanging out with Missy, so her traveling partner, and being able to stay in the country during this time. So, we don't have the full squad like we're used to seeing from Team Malaysia, specifically in this case, as Shaolin represents that country. But we do have a legend, and we will have a legend throughout the rest of the season. I've seen a lot of wows in the chat. Ooh, that was a wow shot.
Wow, after that. My goodness, 8 out of 9 for J. Rich. Woo.
Man. So if J. Rich is playing there, and we've heard the updates, but obviously we haven't had a chance to physically see Mrs. Zavala come across. And let's see when we might be able to have that opportunity. Coming up next, Game 5. She'll be on 9 and 10.
Okay.
So we'll see Stephanie Zavala game 9 and 10 if you're scoring at home in Game 5. I'm assuming people were wowing at me for my 2 years of not bowling.
Well, to be fair, I think you've been pretty busy your last 2 years as well. With
It's been a busy. Yeah, you're right. The last time I bowled, I didn't have a child. Now I have 2, and they're awesome. By the way, my wife, Shanice, who is an avid viewer of Bowl TV, who often calls me out, just gave me basically like, you're not bowling, bro. That's what she gave me, because she knows me best. She's already been twice this year, and if not for a minor injury of hers that she is going through, she would be at the bowling center every week, multiple times. And yeah.
And that right there is why Shanice is the best.
She is the best. Without her, I would not be here. I can tell you that right now. In regards to the bowling, I do have the desire. It's a mental game I'm playing with myself. It's just back and forth I go. 1 minute, yeah, I want to get back out there. Let's get this thing done. The next minute, yeah, I spent a lot of hours, behind the camera. No, I'm good. So I just need to go on out there, throw a bowling ball, and accept that I'm going to be a little rough around the edges to start. And how much work am I willing to put in, essentially, is the question.
Well, I can tell you in 2019, I took about 8 months off due to some injury issues, and getting back into that was those first few shots were arguably the most terrifying thing I've ever done with a bowling ball, outside of leave a 4-5. But yeah, once you get back into it, those first few shots, get your legs underneath you, get that soreness out of the way. You're gonna be sore the next day, just so you know.
No doubt. Getting sort of walking.
You're going to forget about which muscles you used, and those things are going to be on fire. But get a few going. We'll be back in it like it's no time. I had my league payout Wednesday. So just like that, full season in the books.
In the books, this game, you saw the, I think that was the 2-8. I'm sorry, the 2, no, I'm tripping. Was that 2-7-8, right? For Maria in the 10th, 196, and then the 1-2-4, which is made from Shaolin. That gets us to 216. And after that spare, Maria can get to Bolanova, get to 179. I think we didn't have another Maria until Maria Bolanova came on tour, right? Is that fair to say?
I think that's fair to say. I believe so. Tough game there for Alicia, 140.
Yikes. Quick look down, I'm sure, to make sure that's exactly where she wanted to slide, speaking of Taylor Bailey. And another one of those key rookies we've talked about. Aaron, what do you say we talk about that in Game 5? Aaron wrote a nice preview story. If you haven't read it, please do on PWBA.com regarding this year's rookie class. And right now, Caitlin Johnson. And it's important to note, folks, if you don't remember this, just keep this in mind that all postseason awards, essentially, or any honors, are based on points.
Mm-hmm.
It is not a voting situation. It's based on points. And right now, Caitlin Johnson is leading in that category across the rookie spectrum. Obviously, now she's got some folks on her heels, especially Stephanie Zavala, with that win in Cleveland. But keep that in mind. Jay Rich. I think Mike Flanagan mentioned Jay Rich. I saw him say Jay Rich would be his pick. I'm not sure if he was talking about to win this week or to have a good week, whatever the case is. But so far, he is on the money.
On the money, yes.
That was yesterday during our practice session. Mike chimed in the chat. Yesterday, Aaron, I mentioned Courtney Ermish as well. And despite a couple of 7-2s with circles in the 8th and in the 9th, he is going to be in the 10th frame here, can get to 234. A rook with, again, I think a lot of game as well. But Jay Rich looking to make it 11 out of 12 and possibly reclaim the lead. It's been Stephanie Zavala, Jordan Richards, Stephanie Zavala. Those have been your leaders in order after each game. Hello to all who are just joining us on BowlTV.com. We appreciate you, along with Aaron Smith. I am Emil Williams Jr. Pleased to be back with you as Jay Rich, 265, Mr. Smith.
Whew.
On a pattern that didn't seem like there was going to be too many high scores. And overall, I think that would be right. But when you lead a tournament, generally speaking, you're going to shoot some scores. We're seeing that from Jay Rich, and we're all done with competition on 5 and 6. And a little bit different this time, Aaron Smith. It looks like channels 2, PWBA 2, and PWBA 3. In fact, PWBA 2 have players who aren't yet in the 10th frame. So,
all right, let's head over there.
As we head to 2 again, this is the PWBA BVL Open BVL, standing for the Bowlers to Veterans Link, and the Laspina family, and all they have done certainly for that charity. Bowling in general, bowling centers certainly across, not only here, but they've got a couple in Florida as well. And because of my good thought process, reminders, and my man Curtis Von Kruger, we do have a ball rep. He goes by the name of Matt McNeil, also known as Matty McHonor. Good man. How you doing?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Going well. Going well.
You're not bowling, so it's going well.
You are correct. You just missed a stout conversation about me not bowling for the last 2 years. But speaking of bowling, one Jordan Richard is bowling very well. What have you seen? Obviously, she's on the squad for you guys. So what is she doing? And what have you guys, kind of game plan for her that's helping to allow some success here so far?
Really, really cliche. Very, very simple. Create good ball motion front to back, and make sure the ball slows down closer to her and is, a little slower response and smoother off the end of the pattern. With the pattern design and the 2-2s being down lane, you got to get the ball to slow down closer to you, but still make it through the pins. With her rev rate, it's certainly a bigger advantage for her. I think if you look up in the standings, generally the players up there having more success have a higher rev rate right now, and pins are a little harder to knock over, it seems like, for the girls with a little less rev rate right now. So I think the rev rate combined with her hand, she's a little more forward with her release. So I think that's helping her out a lot too. And she's using the Honey Badger intensity from 900 Global, which has been a really, really good piece out here. We put a higher finish on it before we came out with bowling on the current oil that we have out here. That oil tends to hook a little more, so that was the game plan coming in. Keep it, hit the pocket a lot, make spares, and give the ball a chance to strike a lot. She's doing that.
Matt, we've talked a lot about the differences from side to side here. What are you guys kind of seeing from, especially in Jordan's situation? She bowled her first 3 games on the high end, then moved to the low end there. Obviously found the success, but what's kind of the message to players making the jump to one side or the other right now?
The low side seems to be cleaner through the front. The ball wants to go from point A to point B a lot easier than it does on the high side. It just seems like the panels on the high side have a lot more friction earlier, so the ball wants to slow down closer to the players, bog down. It's tougher for them to get it around the corner. So I think it's definitely maybe a little bit of an advantage, if you will, if you start on the high side and then come over to the low side when there's a little more head oil, because there's not much to start with anyways. So I think that was probably some good fortune there on the luck of the draw. So the big thing is just making sure that when you come to the low side here, that the ball's going to get down the lane a little easier, and it's not an incredible difference, but it's plenty noticeable to the reps.
Is it usually a ball change, or is it just an adjustment on the lane that you feel the players are doing when they make that switch?
I think it could be both. It depends on the player. I think if you have a little less rev rate and your ball's affected more by the lane surface and the topography, then you definitely want to we're probably making some actual shell changes there. We're making ball change along with the move. But I think the players that can get their ball from point A to point B, they don't have to do as much. It's more just an alignment change with their feet and their eyes.
All right, Matt. Well, we appreciate the time as always. Good, sir. Thank you for joining us here on Bold TV for an update there on a couple players in the house here at Farmingdale. And we'll let you get back to it, sir.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Matt. All right, Matt McNeil joining us here. Matty McHonor. Always a fun reference.
I watched that guy, and so did you. Strike it just at will, it seemed like it. My early days of the Open Championships, or really our early days at the Open Championships. So we coined him that nickname. I hadn't said it in a long time. And now he's helping other people score. And we're helping ourselves score here. It's game 5. And as I mentioned, we will have Stephanie Zavala on lanes 9 and 10. And so we will get to see our first look on Bowl TV at Stephanie Zavala. Will she be in the lead? I'm not sure. Jordan Richard just shot 265 if you're just joining us. And those two players have traded the lead each game. So if the pattern would hold up, and not the lane condition, but the pattern between Stephanie and Jordan leading, it would be Jordan's turn to lead, and Steph would be in second.
They're really doing an excellent job at sharing the lead so far. So that's good teamwork right there.
Yeah, it only works until you get to that final match on Saturday night.
That is true. You know what else is true, Emil? We have some great sponsors here on the PWBA Tour. And for High Five Gear, their apparel is an extension of you. Bold, creative, original, custom apparel for the individual, the team, and everyone in between. High Five Gear, proud sponsor of the PWBA Tour here in 2021.
Thank you to all of our sponsors, certainly on the PWBA Tour. And Aaron Smith, an extra treat for us, and not just for us, but certainly for Bowl TV. Both Stephanie Zavala and Jordan Richard on PWBA 2.
Oh, let's go. This is my type of energy here.
Indeed it is. So 9 and 10, we'll have Stephanie Zavala. 11 and 12, we'll have Jordan Richard. Along the journey on 9 and 10, and Jelimar Beasley. So we'll get a chance to see things again from the left side of the lane. Jelimar always competitive when she is out on tour. Lindsey Boomershine, Carson Lukosius, who has bowled very well collegiately in the last few years. We've seen her at, I think the last, maybe I had to always remember that nothing happened last year. But within the last few seasons, we've seen Carson compete at the Queens and an event or two on tour when we're on the East Coast, and she always performs well also.
Correct. Talked to her in Reno just a couple of weeks ago. She bowled the women's championships, did not bowl the Queens. She had work commitments that did not allow her to compete in the Queens. But here this week, Carson was a standout at Fairleigh Dickinson University, made the show at the Intercollegiate Singles Championships in 2019. And even set a little history out in Reno while she was at the Women's Championship. She actually bowled with Lindsey Boomershine's group. So some familiarity there. But Carson and Nicole Hiroka, who had a nice showing at the Queens as well, in their final game of doubles at the WC, fired 576, I believe the number was, with Carson rolling 299 to move into second place in the Diamond Doubles division there. So little piece of history there. Set the all-time doubles game record on the way into moving into second place.
The Women's Championships guru, Aaron Smith. He's earned that title.
The things you didn't know you needed to know until you know them.
Over the years, he has earned that title without question. First look at Zavala. High flush. 7 late. Again, hard to say because this is our first time seeing her, but based on all the updates, maybe she has moved a little further left, maybe, but you see how far she's in. I think she's a little further left than Jordan Richard, actually. And speaking of Jordan Richard, we do have scores. At least I have them in hand. I'll wait till Aaron is.
We got them online.
Well, there it is.
Online. So
well, there it is. All right.
Do your thing, E.
I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to do it well. Jordan Richard at plus 145. She is the new leader. Stephanie Zavala Her first game under 200 in game 4, she shot 195. She is now at plus 96. Liz Culkin has moved into third at plus 72. 232 in game 4. Daria Payok fourth at plus 64. So far, so good. As Matt mentioned, first 4 names, you think higher rev rates, and that is exactly certainly what we see here, including Rocio Restrepo. I would put her in that category as well. In 5th place at plus 61. Jen Higgins, again, continuing a very good start here. Plus 60 is in 6th place. Amanda Najokis in 7th at plus 48, hanging tough. Shannon O'Keefe is in 8th at plus 41. Sandra Gongora, who we saw earlier in game 1 and game 2 for that matter, off to a solid start. A little hiccup in game 3 with 177 or 171. Has rebounded nicely in game 4 to get to plus 37. She shot 235 last game. And then rounding out the top 10 right now, Verity Crawley at plus 30. So far, an interesting block for Verity, 190, 198. Then we saw the very nice 249 game on 5 and 6, or 7 and 8. And then 193. So talk about kind of the up and down, but somewhat consistent, if you will, as well. For Verity there. Kelly Kulik in 11th at plus 18. Ashley Galante in 12th at plus 17. Liz Johnson is 13th at plus 11. Kind of similar to what Verity has seen. Julia Bond, the 175, then the big 258 game. Then 185, 185 to just plus 3. She's in a tie for 14th with Brianna Clemmer at plus 3. Stephanie Johnson at plus 2. She is tied with Lindsay Boomershine for 16th, again at that number. So all in all, 17 players at plus numbers or better. And the cut number at the moment would be 32nd place, minus 53, Danielle McEwen at the moment.
That number has steadily dropped from game to game.
Indeed, it has. Man,
I think it started at like minus 8.
And for that note, Aaron Smith, I have kept all of my score updates in hand, and you are correct. So we do need to refer back in a quick and timely manner. I do have all 4 copies of my or the standings after each game thus far.
I think that'll earn you a star on Bull TV. So.
It might. Really just means I'm back. I gave to Neil a nice gift, which included Garrett's popcorn.
Oh!
For those of you who are familiar with, that's a Chicago staple in regards to popcorn. If you enjoy gourmet popcorn, Garrett would be a go-to for you. So if you're ever in Chicago, if you fly through O'Hare, there's one in Terminal 3. There's not one at Midway, by the way, just letting you know.
These are very specific details.
There's several locations downtown. There's also one on the south side. But anyway, so I brought her that, and I said, now I'm officially back. Someone mentioned Alexis Nair in the chat. Well, I can tell you she is here, and she is bowling. And she is right now in the standings at minus 65 in 45th place. 220, 172, 197, 146, game 4. So lost a few pins, of course, there, but still certainly within plenty of reach here with multiple games to go. She is not in the bad spot by any stretch, considering the scoring pace this week.
Pretty popular video on our PWBA Facebook page with Alexis Nair from the Queens a couple of weeks ago. Joining her brother in 2021 with a cool achievement at the National Bowling Stadium. Brother Anthony converted the 710 on TV to become just the 4th player to do so. As Carson gets a nice hit there to convert the spare, and then Alexis comes back for the queens and rolls 300 at the NBS. So pretty cool stuff there for the Nyer family. A great bowling family in general. So great to see the kids doing cool things out there.
Aaron, I don't know if you saw Jeannie's comment in the chat, and it may be something you know, or may send her a message about. But that's a good question. Hi, Jeannie.
I do see that. Jeannie, send me a note, email or through Facebook. I can get to that for you. Or I can get you more information on that.
My guy Sal, best last name in the business, Budicavoli. Sal, your comment is spot on. Here's why. Here's an opportunity that I've been waiting for, and here we are. We get to it in a very good manner. Shout out to our good friend Joe Angeloni with a Bowl TV viewer. Certainly came in here this morning rocking his Bowl TV t-shirt. I told him he is one of a kind because not many people have those, including Aaron. You don't have a Bowl TV t-shirt, do you?
I do not have a Bowl TV t-shirt.
I don't either. But nonetheless, in the comments, Sal has mentioned we should check out Dortoni Bakery in Levittown. And you know what, Sal? Joe Angeloni brought from Dortoni some cannolis and some cookies for the group. And so I got to give my guy another shout out again. Joe Angeloni representing not only for us, but the Bowl TV community, coming through with the baked goods. We appreciate Joe and his kindness. I will say I've yet to sample. I've been waiting
for come on,
for the block to be over. But since you said it and Sal has mentioned it, now I feel like I should give a review.
I kind of want to just put the screen on you for this.
So let's hold on a second.
We'll bridge the gap here as Emil has his delicious baked good. Zavala will be stepping up here looking for 5 in a row. So as Emil mentioned, dropped in the standings to 2nd place after the big game from Jordan Richard, 265. Zavala with 195 last game. Richard leads at plus 145. Zavala is not going to get the 10 out there at plus 96 entering game number 5. But some early struggles here in game 5 for Jay Rich, who's on lane 11 right now, going to be stepping up for her 5th frame. She's been good on this lane, has yet to find the right combination on lane 12. Emil is back.
I am back. Since we have the ability, Aaron, and we won't take too much time, obviously, but I could go ahead and show the goodness, if you will.
You want to go full screen for this? You can handle that?
Well, I want to go full screen. Let's put us on the side for a bit. That might be. We don't want to just take away from the bowling.
All right, we can do that for a sec. Here we go. Okay. Get it after Lindsay's shot here. No problem on the spare. So
we need to go full. We will. So here we go. I mean, that is goodness right there, right?
It's a pretty healthy piece right there.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's just go ahead and do it.
This is on-air taste testing with Emil Williams Jr. Bowling commentator, business owner, food critic. Hall of Famer as well.
That's so good you want to slap your mama right there. That is damn good. Sorry, Bolty. That's what happens when you don't have a star by your name. It's like that.
We'll take that as an excellent review.
That is excellent. And that's why I didn't want to have one during the block, because I knew it was going to be good. And it's kind of one of those, now I need to finish this. So then I'm eating during the round. And I could eat the whole box, but I'm going to make sure I don't do that because we're sharing with everyone.
It is important to share, especially with delicious baked goods. And there's bite too. Good stuff here on Bowl TV, folks. This is the PWBA BVL Open taking place at Farmingdale Lanes in Farmingdale, New York on Long Island. This is the first of 2 qualifying rounds today, game 5 of 6. One more to go after this. Then we'll be back on the lanes at 5 p.m. Eastern for the second round before we make our first cut to the top 32 players from the 71-player field this week. The advancers will return to the lanes on Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern, to bowl an additional 6-game block. To that 9-pin from Lindsey Boomershine on lane 9. Top 32 will return for 6 additional games, and then the top 12 will advance after 18 total games to one additional 6-game round. They'll take place at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Then after 24 games, the top 4 competitors will advance to the stepladder finals. 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night right here on Bowl TV to determine the champion at the BVL Open.
That was fun. Glad we could have a little fun with that.
I'm glad you could have a delicious baked good, and I have nothing here in Arlington.
I apologize, man. we got it. We got it on site here.
These are the downfalls of not traveling and working remotely.
James, again, that was Dortoni Bakery and Cafe. And again, that is courtesy of Joe Angeloni, a fellow Bowl TV community member who is so excited to be able to have the PWBA here. And I mentioned this about the good folks who are on Long Island that I've talked to so far. Talked to a lot of players, or excuse me, a lot of fans yesterday. Those who were kind of finishing up league a bit last night, super excited. And Joe, no different. And then also coming in because he loves Bowl TV that much. He not only wore his T-shirt today, but he provided some baked goods from what obviously is an incredibly excellent bakery here locally in town. Speaking
of Bowl TV T-shirts, the limited edition.
Bowl
TV T-shirts.
The cannon ready.
It's about that time. It's coming up, but that's going to be the giveaway today. So if you want to look as fashionable as Joe does today at Farmingdale Lanes, you're at the right place. BowlTV.com. We'll have that giveaway coming up soon. Game 6. We'll do it in Game 6.
All right, Game 6 giveaway. Stephanie Zavala making sure she is not giving away too many pins, man.
You see what you did there?
Front 4, 9 spare strike. Jordan Richard. Not too bad of a start. I think the keys we've been seeing, Aaron, there's a lot of 9 sparing going on, which is great. And obviously, someone in the chat will be talking about, the preferring lower scoring paces in some situations. It does put a premium on spare shooting. we mentioned earlier, this week, generally speaking, doesn't look like the week where you can miss a spare and then follow up with a triple. But I think that's not completely true, just based on what the leaders are doing. But I do think it's, if the leaders are doing what they're doing, that means, those kind of fighting and clawing for the cut number certainly don't have that luxury.
As you said, that Stephanie Zavala delivered another strike. So 6 out of 7 here. It's been impressive in our first look at her so far today. Jordan gets the hit to make it a double.
Those are the kind of that weird carry hits that have fallen for some players. But if you were to, kind of have that same shot again, go light, you may not carry the 10 pin. And some of those hits also have produced a lot of pocket 7-10s. Someone asked about Angelimar. That is Mitch Beasley's wife. Yes. Formerly Angelimar Contreras from Venezuela. Aaron, I know one thing that has often come up in the last few weeks I've been watching, particularly the chat. The points for viewers, right? That is a beta test. Is that fair to say regarding some cool stuff that could be had, basically based on how much you watch?
Potentially so, yes. At the moment, there's been nothing officially rolled out with the points. So I know we got the questions about how they're accumulated and all that. And for right now, we don't have an actual this is something for the future that we're going to roll out. So still a work in progress. So cannot answer those specific questions at the moment, but just enjoy collecting points for the time being. I will say, it seems like when you watch a lot, as I do quite a bit, they do accumulate. So would assume that is one of the ways to accumulate points here on Bold TV. But still a work in progress. We're still working to add that and have something official for all you good folks soon. And with that, we're going to bring in a Game 5 update from Curtis Von Kruger. So we're going to bring him onto the screen here right quick. There he is. Curtis, what you got?
Hey, bowling fans, you can start to see the frustrations that kind of start to sink in with some of the girls. It is hard to strike right now. And I think those who can just manage to, keep it in their mind that 190 isn't a bad game. 2-0s are good. You're gaining pins on the field. I think those are going to be the ones who find a little more success, not trying to get something out of your game. Manage the pocket, stay there, take your 10 pins or your 7 pins, and kind of move on. I think those are going to be the ones that are going to be there in the cut as we go on. But like I said, high or low end right now, strikes are at a premium.
I think that's a great point, Curtis, and taking a look at kind of how the cut line has developed over the course of today, it has dropped pretty steadily from game to game. So those struggles are definitely out there for the players, and just being able to maintain and bowl a decent game, bowl a clean game, bowl, take advantage of the double or the 3-bagger when you get it is at premium right now.
Absolutely. I spoke with Dasha Kovalova for just a moment. She's sitting at 20 under and she looks distraught and kind of disheartened. And, you just had to realize that, she thinks she's bowling bad, but she's well within the cut right now. And so obviously, players just kind of have to find their center. You expect people like Julia Bond and those who kind of keep an even keel to kind of gain that a little advantage right now. That's why, people have to realize that this was the first pattern that the men bowled on, I believe, at the U.S. Open. Maybe a little less reverse oil, a little less units on the lane, but this is not an easy shot. Obviously it's played tighter than it did in practice, and I think you're starting to really see that with the ladies right now.
That is a great point there, Curtis. And as always, we do appreciate the sideline reports coming in throughout the course and the concourse over there at Farmingdale. So thank you for the update, and we'll get back to you in Game 6.
Sounds great.
I think next time we'll get Curtis in on the pastry tasting as well. We'll save a segment for Curtis this afternoon. Curtis, you missed this, but
You guys eating cannolis without me?
well, so here's what happened. Sal
One of us was.
in the
One
chat
of us.
mentioned that we should check out Dortoni Bakery, and I said, well, how about that? We should. And I talked about Joe and how he graciously donated some cannolis, and I did a live taste test on the air, reviewed it with some very colorful yet appropriate language.
Did you do the hazelnut or the which one did you do?
I just said it was so good. Someone, you might want to slap your mama. So
Hey, that's a southern term right there. Slap your mama.
So we'll get you in on that.
Hey,
this
I'm
afternoon.
ready. I'm
All right.
ready.
Thanks, Curtis.
Thanks, guys.
Could be a whole post block feature right there. I'll just get everybody on staff lined up. We'll borrow the Barstool Sports model. Just one bite. Taste test.
That's fair. I think you just got to go full. You just got to eat the whole thing. Yeah, because you got to go after the aftertaste, right? Make sure your palate's still good. You got to go full go with that. I hate to keep saying how impressed I am, Aaron, with Stephanie Zavala, but I am. I'll find new ways to describe that, but it's hard to make that type of impact quickly out on tour. We see a player do it every year, but there's generally one or two, and again, it goes back to the rookie class as well and how good they are as a whole, and then certainly individually. Stephanie Zavala really, and I would say the last 3 weeks for sure. That includes Cleveland, of course, her win. Queens we mentioned earlier, despite the match play record, but she proved there. All right, I can still hang, and then right now, being able to do some things really that a lot of players aren't able to do right now. That's to her game.
I think that's a good point that you bring up in that, the Cleveland event, the win, all that kind of culminating in one crazy week. And, you have very little time to really celebrate that. You're back at it. You're, heading to Reno. You're at the Queens. You're the first major on tour. And, there's the potential. You talk about it. Thinking about someone bowling a 300 on TV and stepladder finals. And, you kind of have such a high moment from that occasionally there's a step back the following game, the following week, whatever it may be. And Stephanie showed no signs of slowing down at the Queens. She was just awesome throughout qualifying. The match play portion of it did not go her way, as a nice cover there by Ingelimar to kick off the 10th frame and to see it continue here. So this is, three different centers, three different parts of the country, three different oil patterns, finding ways to consistently perform and be near the top of the leaderboard is, I think, a very telling, situation for her career arc in on this tour. You look at the one player that I can kind of compare it to, ironically enough, is the one she's challenging for the lead. Was kind of when Jordan Richard came out on tour in 2018, who came out one early. I believe it was her fourth event. And then all of a sudden, we just saw Jordan rattle off TV show after TV show after TV show. I think she made, was it 4 consecutive stepladder finals appearances that particular season.
She owned the month of August.
The month of August, that's what it was. And, Stephanie might be on path to have a similar year as that. That's kind of what I've seen through the first couple weeks here. I'd have to go look back to kind of really dig in to see how she did in the first 2 events in Twin Cities and in Lincoln. But since that win, she's been arguably the toughest player on tour since.
Yeah, let's key in on this shot here, Aaron, and see if we can really get a nice view on where she is at the arrows. So that was probably about 14-ish.
Yes.
Yes.
That one trucked.
I mean,
that thing moved off the spot.
You know, if it's not Jordan Richard, right, that I don't, you know, it's pretty clear they have the best looks in the building at the moment. I would still throw in Liz Culkin in that group right now because she started off very well, and I don't think her look necessarily has gone away.
You saw that thing just kind of get to the point though, and just pick up and shazam. The thing moved. 279 still out there.
Then you see Jay Rich over on 12 doing the same thing. That looks like a copy, and it is. I mean, really, that's all you can ask for, right? As a player, to be able to hopefully kind of get into a comfort zone, you know, whether it's A game, B game, but it looks like Stephanie's able to get into that A game pretty early, and she's been doing it all day. And I think she is going to the bag to take a look at something different here on the fill coming up.
Stephanie will take the overall lead back here from Jordan, who can max out at 193. She's able to get these last 2 strikes in the 10th.
And that was a solid game by Lindsey Boomershine, who has been a very solid season as a collective as well. And good to see that from Lindsey Boomershine. That ball seemed to go a touch longer to me. But she knows what she's looking for and has. And, yeah, I can't expect her look to change that much, Aaron, to game 6. Yeah, obviously you never know until you get to the pair, but she's going to move over to 13 and 14, which is PWBA 3. If you would like to follow Stephanie Zavala to the end of this block, you can.
I think we might have to do that, I mean.
We just may do that as well. Let's see. Coming up, game 6. Let's see. Missy Parkin, Tony Kaufman, Chris DeSant, Abby Ragsdale on 5 and 6. Lauren Pate, Alexis Nair, Rachel Hines, Diana Zavyalova on 7 and 8. That is PWBA 1. Summer Jasmine, Brianna Klemmer, Danielle Marino, Liz Johnson. You haven't seen LJ or that entire group, of course, all day. So they'll be on 9 and 10 coming up. Kara Mangiola. I believe Kara's dad was in the chat watching the practice yesterday. We were talking about Cassius. And I think he mentioned, and I don't know how many events Kara has bowled, but I think she may be perfect in regards to the events she has cashed. Around 4 or 5 is that number. Katie Barnes, Heather Dorico, and Bjørget Norwikes. They'll be on 11 and 12. Just mentioned Angela Marr, Stephanie Zavala, Carson Lukosius, and Lindsey Boomershine. They move over to 13 and 14. Rhea Balanova, Jordan Richard, Alicia Current, Danielle Niddle move to 15 and 16. That's PWBA 3. Then over on PWBA 4, we'll have Maria Jose Rodriguez, Kayla Jones, who Kayla was in the top of the leaderboard or around it for a while. After the first 2 games, wow, I didn't realize she went 140, unfortunately. The last 2 games to fall out of the top 32 at the moment. So we'll see if she can get those pins back. She is joined again with Shalyn Zulkifli and Taylor Bailey on 17 and 18. Then Azarette Zetter, Fania Cobo, Amanda Nardiello, and Stephanie Johnson on 19 and 20 on PWBA 4. You can look at the pairing sheet, which is what I was reading from on PWBA.com, or you can hit the side panel just to the right of the chat feature. If you're watching on your desktop, at the bottom of your screen, you'll be able to click a few tabs if you're watching on your mobile device.
Emil, as we get into game number 6, just a reminder to everybody out there that NDO Bowling and NDO Bowling events give the everyday amateur bowler the opportunity to compete in a professional environment, measure their skills against some of the best bowlers in the world, and learn what it takes to compete at the highest level. If you think you have what it takes to compete with the best bowlers in the world, or you simply want to hone your skills in a competitive environment, find an NDO Bowling event near you. NDO, proud sponsor of the PWBA Tour.
Shout out to Omar. Segura, we'll make that easy for you and just drop a link in the chat. And because Aaron Smith is the man, that's what he does.
Just a reminder, folks, this game 6, we'll have a giveaway. When are you feeling the giveaway, Emil?
I'm thinking let's go about halfway home this game.
About a halfway point? Okay. Bowl TV t-shirt up for grabs.
Be like Joe. Get yourself a Bowl TV t-shirt. Then show up at the next event. Provide exquisite delicacies. And have a nice conversation, because fans are allowed this week. That question has come up, obviously, a little bit in the chat, and it will vary based on local and state guidelines, I believe, moving forward on tour. So this week, and really the next 2 weeks, the state of New York, the local and state guidelines do allow spectators. And then individually, of course, the bowling center itself and whatever particular or specific protocols they may have regarding fans. But there are a few fans here in the building. They have been great so far. No pro-am or bowl with the pros, but fans are allowed in the building. In regards to mask, players have the option. They can opt to or opt not to. It is up to them. From a staff perspective, we are required on site. Let me just make that clear, because everyone's going to wonder why Aaron Smith is not wearing a mask and I am. Aaron is not on site. In fact, he's by himself, which I feel bad about, in the Bull TV studio.
So lonely in here.
Yeah, and that's right. That was a slow messenger. Yeah, that took forever. It's weird, man. We've just seen a couple of different kind of pin leaves, and Aaron, you mentioned, I forgot how you described it earlier, but kind of some weird pin action every now and then, like things you wouldn't expect to see based on what we've seen, like slow messengers. Then you'll see the 6 kind of chop the 10 out a little bit, but then you'd see light hits that leave wobbly 7/10s.
And I don't recall the term I used for it, but yes, you've seen some interesting leaves throughout the course of, or I shouldn't say lead. Oh, there's been some interesting leaves, but yeah, the pin carry has been either crazy good or crazy awkward, and probably potentially slightly frustrating for some of the athletes out there. But yeah, have seen some different type of hits out on the lanes this week. What did we have happen here? Do we have a insert?
Perhaps. We talked about collegiate bowling certainly throughout, and it's all over the PWBA tour. As you see again, Heather DeRico. Again, bowling. She bowled collegiately. Robert Morris, Danielle Marino. I believe at Delphi. She actually made a regional in Orlando. Lost to eventual champion Caitlin Simpson. Speaking of Danielle. In 2019.
That was 2019.
Danielle from Glendale, New York. First look at Liz Johnson, and we're waiting on our Game 5 standings. We should have those for you here, but after 4, Liz was plus 11 after 4 games, and that was after 4. So, Aaron, who's going to hold on to the lead here? Who's going to have the lead, I should say, after round 1? Because we should talk to that person.
That is something we do. We talk to people who have the lead, and I'm going to guess based off of our current trend, it's going to be either Jordan Richard or Stephanie Zavala.
Well, if we keep it solely based on the pattern, again, not the lane condition, but the leader after one game or after each game. It started with Stephanie Zavala, 246 in game 1. She was the leader. Then Jordan Richard took over the lead at plus 66 after 2 games. Then after game 3, Stephanie Zavala plus 101 reclaimed the lead. Jordan Richard then flipped the switch. Said, I'm going to shoot 265 and retake the lead at plus 145. And now we have our Game 5 standings. We know that Stephanie Zavala was going to have the lead because we saw both Jordan and Stephanie bowl at the same time and bowl next to each other. And, Aaron, do we have the standings online yet?
We do not yet.
Okay.
But this could be a Bowl TV perk. Heard it here first on Bull TV.
Let's do it. Here it is, folks. So Stephanie Zavala, your official leader after 5 at plus 175. Jordan Richard is second at plus 127. Liz Culkin is third at plus 67.
Wow.
Rocio Restrepo is fourth at plus 57. Jen Higgins. Keep your eye on Jen Higgins this week. 5th at plus 54. Amanda Najokis 6th at plus 52. Brianna Klemmer 7th at plus 50. Daria Payok 8th at plus 35. Liz Johnson is 9th at plus 31. Sandra Gongora is 10th at plus 28. Julia Bond, 17th at plus 1. 17 players, and that number has been pretty consistent as well. The amount of players who have been plus each game. And then 32nd right now, Carrie Smith at minus 47. And we just talked about Danielle Marino because obviously she's bowling on PWBA 2, which is what we're watching now. Now from College Point, New York at minus 53, just outside that number. Caitlin Johnson at minus 55. Birgit Norwikes at minus 57. Amanda Nardiello, minus 61. There are a lot of numbers in that minus 50 to 70 range with some really good players, too. Alicia Current, Gigi Mason, Jenny Chapelski, Maria Bolanova, Maria Jose Rodriguez is actually minus 72. Giselle Poss at minus 78. Man.
That's right, Summer. Get that 10-pin out of there.
How about that?
Let's bring in Curtis for a Game 6 update here. Curtis, my man.
Oh, man, I am glad I'm on the other side of the line right now. It has gotten from bad to worse as far as this pattern goes. And I think that's a result of a lot of bowlers kind of fishing out there, and they blew up the back end of this pattern, and it has gotten tough. I look at lanes 21 and 2 right now, and I think that's probably one of the hardest pairs in the house. And bowling 190 on that shot right now is not bad. You take 190s and 2-0s all day right now. And so it's going to be really up to the shot makers to really come in and make quality shots and just try not to get frustrated. Again, you really see the frustration kind of starting to show here, but got to regroup, got to get back out there and maybe not even be afraid to try something bold and see if you can find a better line.
Curtis, yesterday we heard from a couple of reps and some folks in the chat. We were talking about, based on what Nick mentioned to us regarding the lane condition, potentially, the bowling adventure where players can maybe play in various parts of the lane. Someone in the chat, and I believe it was Kimberly Power Deferred, talked about the potential of, because that's available, right, the multiple ways to play it, there may or may not be something defined that would develop for players to essentially play it. Do we think we kind of see a little bit of that?
I don't think you see a little bit of that. I think you see a lot of bit of that. It absolutely is. And you still have people kind of forcing that outside line and because they're just trying to get away from things. And then you have all the other players moving inside, really trying to get through the mid lane. And it's really tough. And I think the lanes playing from pair to pair right now are really, really difficult. And if you're following a higher rev rate player, it's even making it even harder on you. So I'd hate to be following people like Culkin and Richard and those players right now because there's been a pretty big hole blown on the back end of this pattern.
All right. Nicely done. Appreciate you.
Thanks,
Not
Curtis.
a problem. Thank you, sir.
All right, with that update in the books, approaching the halfway point of Game 6, Emil.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's time. Time for the giveaway, folks. So a Bowl TV t-shirt is going to be awarded to one lucky bowler here on bowltv.com here from the PWBA BVL Open. If this is your first time participating in a giveaway, it is super easy to do. You're going to see a prompt in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. It's going to say, a giveaway will begin soon. Watch here to participate. It'll count down for 60 seconds. Then you'll have a brief moment where it disappears. But don't worry, it's going to come right back. It's going to say the giveaway has begun, and there's going to be a submit entry button right next to it. It's going to count down for 45 seconds. All you have to do to enter for a chance to win is click that submit entry button. We do recommend that if you're watching in full screen mode, to please take it out for just a minute or two. So you can see the chat, you can see the channels and everything. Then you should be able to see the giveaway option as well. See that submit entry button and have the opportunity to win here on Bowl TV. So with that strike from Summer Jasmine, let's get it going. Good luck, everybody. Wait for that submit entry button. And thank you for being part of the Bowl TV community.
I think we need some music or something, right?
Well, from what I recall, Mr. Williams, perhaps in the day, you were one to sing a song or two on Bowl TV.
Yeah, but I mean, we need
this is an opportunity for a custom theme song.
Yeah, we need something that signals the giveaway, not Jeopardy-esque, but that wouldn't be bad. Do 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 do. Look, Larry. See, Larry knows it. Me and Larry are, or Larry and I. I'm going to use appropriate English. Larry and I are synced. We're on the same page. I love the call out though, Aaron Smith.
See, I would have.
You forced me to do.
I'm just going off of previous experience.
You did it because you know me.
But see, the way I picture it in my head is having, because for some reason this song keeps popping up recently, and I know you're going to enjoy this reference, but you know that beginning of "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough" by MJ?
Oh, of course.
Where it has that little thing where he's talking a little quietly, then all of a sudden it gets into the woo. That was not justice for it, but like that's what I feel.
Oh!
Like when that hits right there, that's when the giveaway starts.
And it's coming to an end quickly. What a name.
Jeff, all 40 boards.
That is a name. I hope that's either the name of his shop or something. But even if it's not, let's go ahead and put that on the birth certificate.
Congratulations, Jeff. And thank you to everybody for participating here on BowlTV.com. Jeff, our marketing team will be reaching out to you in the next couple days to get the size shirt you're looking for and get that shipped off to you so you can represent Bowl TV out in the world. But thank you for participating. Thank you for everyone for being part of the Bowl TV community here and watching the PWBA BVL Open.
Congrats again, Jeff. And just a brief moment here for the bowling. Summer, man. It's tough for me to see Summer struggle. She is one of the most well-liked players out on tour. She has joined me in the booth multiple times over the course of the previous few seasons. We've done several step ladders together. In 2019, I really thought that was kind of was going to be that turning point for her, specifically on tour. You could see the momentum really kind of starting to build as the more she learned, and she had made a change in ball companies and such. And I know this season hasn't began the way certainly she would have hoped, but with what looks to be a round-ending solid game here, and where she is in the standings so far. And again, those who have watched know, have mentioned that this probably might be her best event so far. It's looking pretty good. Okay, Jeff. 40boards.com. I appreciate that knowledge. .40boards.com. I'm going to put that in my phone. One day, Jeff, I want you to call me, and I want it to say Jeff 40 boards come up on my phone. Oh. I saw Birgit's husband, Toby, here with her this week. They were married last July, so they're coming up on a year. SJ, Summer Jasmine. Oh! Well, late love on the 7-pin. That was super high flush there. Or you rarely see that 7-pin literally just kind of go straight back and fall.
Emil, a quick update from 13 through 16. Stephanie Zavala clean through 6 with a double. Jordan Richard, 2 opens, just 1 strike so far. So it looks like Zavala will end the streak. that we've seen the throughout the first or course of the first round here and take the overall lead heading into round 2.
Well, coming off again. You know, it's been a really good month of May. I think that's fair to say for Stephanie to this point. I think the importance of round 2 will be on display tonight for sure, Aaron. Because if there ever was a time for adjustments for some players, it's definitely now. And I could see, you know, some reps and players obviously getting together and talking about strategy. And we may see I think we will see some different stuff. We may even see the lanes break down differently because I think there will be enough players who are going to change how they start the next round.
Oh, 100% agree with you. That is going to be a big thing to keep an eye out for when we start that 5 p.m. Eastern right here on BullTV.com for round 2 of the BVL Open. And, you know, you talk about the opportunity for the other players. Think about the opportunity for right now, Stephanie and Jordan. We mentioned Jordan having some struggles this game, but if she's able to kind of dig this game out, find a way to shoot, you know, 2-0, 2-2 maybe, if Stephanie can continue on with as low as the scoring pace has been, to have a big block here puts you in automatic contention for the stepladder finals, even though that's another 18 games away. That's how tough they are. And if you can get out to a block or have a big block like this is potentially, you know, you mentioned a little bit earlier about, you know, running away early from everybody else with 24-game total pinfall determining the top 4. If you do that for 6 games, you're a quarter of the way there. This could be pretty defining for the rest of this event.
Yeah, I was a bit too premature. Yeah, after watching Julia Bond shoot 258 and the way her look was, the way her ball reaction was looking in game 2, it's like, okay, if she can keep that up, but it wasn't her. It was Stephanie and or Julia, but right now certainly Stephanie with that inside track to, you know, get a spot in the stepladder finals. So this is going to be, and I just talked about what Summer Jasmine could do. Let's see. We know Stephanie has a 279. I'll quickly run through some scores. And so far, not seeing another game of 270. We know Jordan Richards shot 265 a couple of games ago.
Mm-hmm.
So this very well could be if Summer can complete the deal. Heck, if she can just get the first one, which might be just the 3rd game of 260 or better so far this round. That is correct, by the way. Aaron, thank you. 11 and 12 will be the pair, and I'll try to keep my eye on it. I'm actually kind of in front of it now, but just to see if you see anything weird, different. Carry might be a little different. I'll tell you early on, though, it looked like one of the best pairs in the house, considering some of the scores that were shot, including Liz Culkin's 230.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big shot there for you're getting the 9th frame. She can get into the 220s. Right now, she is minus 57. A good way to go to lunch.
Summer gets that first hit in the 10th. In the 250s now.
Misspoke earlier, my bad. Thought she was maxed at potentially maxed at 279. Excuse me. I think I might try to do try to get an additional guest after this, Aaron. Nathan Bohr, Summer, are part of Motive staff. Nathan has been right here watching this game. So I'll certainly be curious to just get his thoughts, A, on the pattern, and B, specifically kind of what's been successful today for Summer. And certainly we'll get Stephanie Zavala as well. The Bowl TV T-shirt is very popular. You did miss the giveaway, unfortunately, JR, for real. But as you know, we'll have more. Danielle Marino also, of course, on Motive staff, and she's been chatting it up with Nathan. I think she's thrown a lot of good shots this game. And some I was confused on, too. Like, wow, that didn't hook? That one didn't get up the hill? What's going on here?
There it is, 269 to wrap things up. So she will get to plus 80. Oh, that was the second one. I thought that was the. Oh, there it goes. Okay, it was just a
little slow.
The scoreboard iced me there. Again, folks, we are at the conclusion of round number 1 of qualifying here at the PWBA BVL Open. And we are going to have the opportunity to chat with Nathan Bohr here in just a moment. So he looks ready to go as Liz gets the hit. Nathan, hello, sir.
I finally get a chance to talk to you.
Here's this guy. Here he is. Appreciate you, Nathan. And just briefly, we just watched Summer shoot 269.
Yeah.
Overall on the day, a good day overall, I should say.
A great day. Yeah.
In this aspect. So, what specifically has been key for Summer to score the way, especially obviously having ending the block with 269?
Well, 269 today is about 349 normally.
I would agree.
The pins are so hard to knock down. So hard. So many flat 10s, so many 7 pins. You get to high flush and you get to high flush and you 4-pin or 4-7 or 4-9 or 4-10. There's just very little spot to hit the pins. I think Summer got a messenger that game too, which I haven't seen one of those connect yet either. So, angle, to answer your question, angle, the two girls that were the two players that were striking the most of the day, Stephanie and Jordan, they could get the ball to get off the spot and go a little bit right to left through the pins, whereas everybody else was struggling to keep the ball going over the 9-pin. They were able to get the ball to go towards the 8-pin or between the 8 and the 9. So that's what Summer was able to do this last game, and hopefully she can keep doing it tonight.
Now, Nathan, I know Summer hasn't had the season she was hoping for through the first couple of events. What are the things you've been working on to get her feeling a little bit more comfortable out on the links?
It's a lot of work that she's done. She every week she goes back, or if she stays out, she's always practicing, always working on something. She was able to go back home after Reno and work on her fit a little bit. She just kind of happened to fall into an old fit in her ball, and it looked good and it felt good, and she's able to get out of it cleaner without having to grip on it, to hold on to it and get her hand in the right spot. So she threw a lot of really good shots today, and all of that is just down to the work she puts in between stops.
Gotcha. Heading into this next block, we've kind of seen the lanes be attacked in multiple ways here, and they got pretty rough there down the stretch. What's going to kind of be the message heading into this round 2 coming in later tonight, and in a way to hopefully manage that a little bit better for everybody across the house? Obviously, there's people are going to do what they're going to do, but
Right.
what's the best way you think to see a little easier playing condition later in the block tonight?
Well, I like, contrary to maybe what the scores show, I don't think the lanes are that hard. The lanes are not hard to get to the pocket. You get to the pocket fairly easily from a bunch of different angles. It's just knocking them down. And so the thing about using the angle off of 7-8, like Summer was able to, like Stephanie and like Jordan, is that not very many people can do that. Not very many of these women that's not their game. So it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be hard to knock the pins down. Anyway, but the more angle you can create going through the pins, the better off you're going to be. It's just a matter of to what extent you can do that.
Final question, Nathan. This one comes directly from. Hold on. Scroll up. From John Woolick.
Right.
He said, "Did you get a time over? I believe that's supposed to be Bethpage.
Did I get what? I'm sorry.
It looks like you were waiting for a tee time.
Yeah.
So you got your tee time. You were good.
Well, we got 9 holes in on Wednesday on the red, and then it started to rain. We were late getting in. We were supposed to get in about 4:00, and then we had traffic and didn't actually make it here until about 5:30. So we hustled on, got 9 holes in, and then it rained. So that kept us from playing about 4 or 5 more holes. But we've got a plan on Tuesday and Wednesday to play the red one day and play the black the next. I've already scoped out the parking situation. Figure we'll get there about 9 or 10 o'clock 9 or 10 o'clock at night one night, and we'll sleep in the parking lot and get an early tee time.
Where was this at?
Bethpage.
Oh.
Bethpage red is what we played, and we're going to play that on Tuesday, and then we're going to try and play the black on Wednesday.
Okay, my man.
Yeah,
Well,
goal is to break 100 from the tips. That's the goal.
The man with all the knowledge on the lanes and on the links. Nathan Boyd.
How long have you been holding on to that? That's good. That's good.
I've been waiting for it.
Yeah.
Thanks, my man. We'll see you in round 2.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks, Nathan.
All right. Nathan Bohr. Appreciate it.
Emil, do we have any? We got anything to head to here?
PWBA 4. PWBA 4.
4 it is.
Actually, 5 and 6, 7 and 8 are still bowling as well. It got pretty chilly all of a sudden. I thought it was just me, and I'm not sure of the temp outside. I think it's supposed to be in the high 60s the next couple of days here on Long Island, specifically Farmingdale in New York. But someone in the chat mentioned this earlier. I wanted to get to it. It was something that Nick Holden dropped in the chat in game 1, but talking about the humidity rising. And someone else had mentioned that in the chat also. So if Nick's back, we'll maybe get into that a little bit round 2 and talk about how, what that particularly or potentially affects. Good question there, John, by the way. So as we get done with game 6 here, we know that Curtis, I believe, we'll have Stephanie Zavala. We'll talk about her round here momentarily.
So we wrap up here. Krista Sant on our featured pair. And, of course, Krista involved with BowlerX.com, a proud sponsor of the PWBA Tour. And at BowlerX.com, you can shop the biggest brands in bowling with the largest selection, best price, and free shipping on every order. Remember, when you shop at BowlerX, you are supporting bowling. BowlerX proudly gives back to bowlers through tournament sponsorships, bowling causes, professional athletes, youth bowling, and more. BowlerX.com for the love of bowling. So big thank you to Krista, Lee, the whole BowlerX.com crew for everything they do for the sport and for the PWBA Tour.
Very nice individuals there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Good to talk with. Well, it's going to be a solid game there for Missy, ending the round with 204. Aaron, I think I didn't get a chance to check it out, but I think Stephanie Zavala finished with something in the 220s, I think.
Afraid I did not catch the end of that as well, but she was pacing ahead of Jordan and had a 50-pin lead, so feeling confident she's going to be our overall leader here after round one.
To my left, Abby Ragsdale finishing things up. She's going to be in the 160s. Curious where Abby is in the standings. He was at minus 33 in 26th. Unfortunately, she's going to finish the block with back-to-back 160 games.
Got Rod in the chat saying 225 for Stephanie that final game, so that would push her to plus 200.
So it looks like all of competition now complete. Scores will be up momentarily as the players, sign those score sheets, make sure they're all ready to go. We will talk with Stephanie Zavala in about 15 to 20 seconds.
That we will, as we wrap up here from Farmingdale. But let's bring in Stephanie now after an impressive performance. I believe getting to plus 200 for the block. There she is. Hello, Stephanie.
Hi.
First off, great bowling. They looked pretty challenging out there, but you were able to toss a bunch of strikes along the way. Tell us a little bit about how you saw the lanes and how you were able to continue striking as it looked like the scoring pace started to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, so right off the bat during practice, I realized I had to keep my angles tighter, at least on the fresh. After about a game, it really just blew open for me. And so little moves, one board at a time, two boards, and just try to keep it in front of me as much as possible, get it down to that second tracer, and the ball did the rest of the work.
Stephanie, I'm not trying to take any credit, but it seems like every time I'm nearby, you strike a lot. So
I appreciate the good luck you bring me.
But what bowling balls were you using? I think we mentioned earlier, or someone mentioned earlier, Honey Badger Intensity was one of the balls. Did you stay in that bowling ball, and how far left did you have to get?
Surprisingly, yes, I stood with the Intensity all 6 games again. That seems to be a reoccurring theme for me. I ended up sliding around 28 with my feet, and that was the furthest left I got, so crossing about 17 at the arrows. That Intensity just really, it sees every part of the lane. It pushes. If I miss a little in, it comes back if I miss a little wide, which has been really tricky. I'm seeing a lot of 210s, 2810s, so lucky to stay out of trouble with that.
Stephanie, of course, the big win a couple of weeks ago in Cleveland. You had a great performance in the Queens throughout qualifying. The match play slowed you down a little bit, but you've continued strong here. As you've kind of taken in these first couple of weeks throughout the course of your PWBA Tour career, what have been the big learning moments for you to kind of make this quick jump to being one of the top players out here just like that?
Well, in the beginning, I was very nervous. I didn't really feel like I belonged out here. My first 2 stops were a little sketchy, cashed in one, didn't cash in the next. By the time Ohio and Queens rolled around, I really felt like I belong out here. I can, hang out here with the best of these ladies. And so I just have to keep telling myself, keep your head on straight, keep believing in yourself, and just keep making shots.
I think that, man, that says a lot. I'll leave you with this. We know, and now from experience, rounds can be certainly different, round 1 to round 2. How do you approach round 2, knowing that probably the majority of the players may try something different just based on the lack of success a lot of players have had so far?
Yeah, so I can only control what I'm doing. I'm going to stick to my game plan. I'm going to start right and then chase it left, which is my A game. I just have to hit, smack, post every shot. That's what's keeping me out of trouble today, and that's been my go-to saying, hit, smack, post. So that's what we're going to do.
Okay, so one more question. I lied. Because you told me that in Cleveland. Yes. What does that mean, and how did that phrase come together for you, the hit, smack, post every shot?
That one actually goes back to a guy back home. His name is Chris Porter. He watches me bowl a lot. And so hit, smack, post basically means hit your shot, don't drop it at the bottom. Smack your back. I have a pretty long follow through. So smack that and then just post your shot. Stay down, follow it all the way through. Hit, smack, post.
And there it is. All right. We got the truth.
All right.
Done. All right. Thanks, Stephanie. We'll see you on the lanes here in just a little bit. Great bowling.
Thank you.
All right. That is Stephanie Zavala, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate her. Excellent bowling. Man, Aaron, I was going to see if we might get standings, but we know, the end of a round that can be tricky sometimes as, again, players try to get their get the score sheets in and to Neil. And this week, Kathy back. This week, Kathy Walk taking care of our scores. But, man, she sounds like a player, Aaron, who is pretty seasoned. And she has only bowled a handful of events, certainly this season. But in her brief PWBA Tour career as a non-member, the Queens, she bowled a couple of events in SoCal when the tour went there a few years back. But she sounds like a veteran at this point.
It's amazing what, and even admitting that, the nerves there, the first 2 events, and being able to find some success, find that confidence, and all of a sudden the sky is the limit. So Stephanie Zavala, our leader here after round number 1 at the PWBA BVL Open. You mentioned those standings, Emil. Folks, if you want to find those after we wrap up the telecast here, head over to pwba.com. They'll be available. Also, keep an eye out on social media at PWBA Tour on Twitter, on Instagram, and, of course, PWBA Tour on Facebook as well. We'll have the updates over there. But I believe that's unless we've got any final takes, Emil, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here.
No, I think Stephanie said it best. I look forward to watching how round 2 unfolds, not only for her, but many of the adjustments we expect several players to make and how the lanes ultimately will transition based on some of the adjustments we expect players to make in round 2. Nice work today.
There we go. All right, folks. Obviously, a lot of thank yous involved for each and every telecast here on Bowl TV. A big thank you to the USBC and the USBC Board of Directors, the BPAA and the BPWA Board of Directors for their continued support of the PWBA Tour. Kegel, the official lane maintenance provider. We saw our guy Bill getting ready for the next round out there as well as we transitioned away from the lane. So always working hard. Big thanks to Bill. Big thanks to Kegel, the PWBA Tour, and the members for always putting a show on for us here on Bowl TV. It's always so fun to watch the best in the world compete week in and week out. And of course, the Bowl TV community. We had a lot of fun. We got one of those limited edition Bowl TV t-shirts out there to Mr. 40 Boards himself. So a great experience all around, and we can't wait to be back at 5 p.m. Eastern for round number 2. So for Curtis Von Kruger, Emil Williams Jr., I'm Aaron Smith. The Bowl TV crew is going to sign off, but Emil Williams Jr. is going to take it home.
Thank you all. This has been a presentation of the PWBA BVL Open. Don't forget to donate to BVL. You can at bvl.org or bowl.com/BVL. We'll have that graphic up for you as we conclude. We will see you at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, a presentation of PWBA BVL Open. You watched it live. You watched it right here on Bowl TV. Bowling lives here. We'll see you at 5.